Welcome everyone to Comics from the Multiverse, episode 386. I am Peter, and joining me, as always, is Matt.
Hey, what's cracking?
It's a DC Comics podcast. We get together, we talk about the DC books we read this week. And there was a lot of them this week. I actually had to make an effort to start reading them yesterday because I knew that it was too many to fit in today, my usual slot for reading books. I had 12 books to read, which Matt matched. We both read 12 books. So coming up on this week's show, we have Titans Beast World issue 2, Titans Beast World Tour Gotham issue 1, Detective Comics 1079, Action Comics 1060, Batman and Robin issue 4, Green Lantern issue 6, World's Finest Teen Titans issue 6, Batman Santa Claus Silent Night 2, Outsiders issue 2, Danger Street issue 12, Batman Gargoyle of Gotham issue 2, and Batman City of Madness issue 2.
Actually, so that was a lie. I didn't read Batman and Robin, so for once, I have less than you do.
Oh, very good. Actually, I'll be honest, if I was going to cut one, it was either that or the Beast World tie-in issue. Those were the two that were sort of... They were both left to the very end, and I had time, so I got them both in, but those were the ones that were on that teetering. To be fair, Batman and Robin was a very quick read, to be fair, so it did not take much long to get through.
That's good.
But so we got a lot of books to talk about. We also have solicits this week, so settle in, everyone. We've got a busy... Do you know what? What's funny, Matt, is last night when I was looking at the list of books, I thought, look, I'm going to check ahead to next week and see if it's worth maybe saving one or two for next week. Next week has almost the same number of books, so that plan never went anywhere. I was like, nope, I need to read all these. It's happening this week. So, here we are.
Good lord.
Yeah. It's a combination of having the Beast World tie-ins, the Santa Claus book being weekly, and one or two other things that are kind of finishing up. So
yeah, but the Santa Claus book I can deal with. You know what I mean? Although next week's not bad. I'm looking at... Next week's a stack. Like, that's a killer card.
Oh, there's a lot of good stuff this week as well, to be fair. But there's a lot of good stuff next week. But it just... Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff piling up right now. Never been so glad that I dropped Superman Lost when I saw it in this week's list of books. I'll tell you that much. I was like,
yes, sir.
Oh, yes. There was no way Sandman was ever going to survive this week. No way.
Yep.
So, yes, we got a lot of books to talk about, and we'll get into all that. We'll get into solicits as well. We might even dilly-dally a little bit, but we'll start the show, as always, with the ComiXology Top 10. And if you're worried about Connor, I think he'll be here... If he's not here for next week's regular episode, he should almost definitely be here for the annual episode where we do the best of the year, which, as it stands, it might actually be between week 3 and 4 in December where we can record it, just because that's where we can fit it in. So technically, we might be shortchanging something from that very final week of comics, but that's where we're going to fit the episode recording in. So that's what's happening. So look,
I thought you were really going to go, if you're worried about Connor, don't be.
I mean, yeah, true, that too, I suppose. Yeah, but yeah, we're actually recording the usual day next week, so the show should technically, it'll go up early in the late the 23rd, and it'll be out publicly on Christmas Eve. So it's a Christmas treat next week of an episode. I don't see any reason why that'll have to change or be pushed for any reason, unless Matt tells me during the week that we have to shift recording dates. But as far as we know right now, we're just good for that.
As far as I know, I'm in the clear. So
yes, so no solicits. ComiXology Top 10, the most important thing of the show.
No, that's not true.
Even I don't really believe that, but
speed round.
Oh, we'll have a guess then. What do you think number 1 is from Tuesday?
It's gonna be Titans Beast World.
It is Titans Beast World. You event Tom Taylor, smash them together. You get a number 1 selling book on the digital storefront. Number 2 is Action Comics 1060.
Hey,
number 3 is Green Lantern. Number 4 is Superman Lost. Number 5 is Batman and Robin. Number 6 is Gargoyle of Gotham. Number 7 is World's Finest Teen Titans. Number 8 is Titans Beast World Tour Gotham. Number 9 is Outsiders. That's a little high for that, I would have thought, compared to what else is here. 10 is Detective Comics. So, yeah, obviously a lot of books this week. Silent Night just missed the top 10 at number 11. Danger Street was number 12. And City of Madness was 14. I will say the one thing that disappoints me on this, other than Detective Comics should just always be higher than it's been for a while, is City of Madness being at 14 when Gargoyle of Gotham's at 6 feels wrong to me, because, well, I still like Gargoyle of Gotham, and we'll talk about that later. I think City of Madness is the better Black Label book of the two, so I'm a little sad that was the one that's selling less, at least digitally anyway.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it has to do with physical versus digital. Some people want that physical City of Madness.
Maybe there's just more people shifted to physical for that one. That's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But notably, Sandman's at 15, and I have to go past like the anthology book and Waller versus Whalestorm. Speed Force is at 18. Speed Force is all the way down at 18. So
okay, well, the people have spoken. It's
a very competitive week, admittedly, but that is still low for a single issue when the facsimile edition of Death in the Family, Batman 428, is above it. So okay, there you go. That's the DC day. What about Wednesday, Matt? You got a guess for number 1?
Nothing is coming up with a low number, so I'm going to say X-Men Red 18.
That is correct.
Boom.
Number 2 is Dark X-Men issue 5 as well, so I thought you might go for that. I thought you might be tricked by the other X book. Number 3 is Immortal Thor issue 5. 4 is Where the Body Was, which is an Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips book, so that's not...
Oh, shoot, that came out... I gotta...
Yeah.
Is that the full book, or are they doing singles again?
It's $24, so I'm assuming that's
the full book.
Yeah, so is that just a straight graphic novel then?
Yeah, so that's how they were doing the Reckless books, which I'm behind on. I have the first one. I did not realize that came out this week.
Yeah, it's there. Then we got number 5 is Captain America. Number 6 is Moon Knight. 7 is Daredevil Gang War. Number 8 is Miles Morales Spider-Man. Number 9 is Punisher, and number 10 is Guardians of the Galaxy. So only one non-Marvel book in the top 10, but it's a pretty big notable one. So that's cool. Just browsing to see if there's anything interesting to point out in this chart. I don't think there is. So yeah, there you go. It's a quick ComiXology. I made it harmless.
Yeah.
I don't want to, do not let it be said that I am not, if nothing, charitable.
A charitable dictator.
Come on now, come on. That's all very good. Alright, solicitations for March. Let's just dive straight on into it, because we got a lot of books to talk about today. So this is for March 2024, which feels like a time period I hear about in a sci-fi movie. I can't believe we're in
I don't like it.
2020s already, but
I remember when we first started recording, you were talking about stuff that was coming out in 2018, and that was 5 years away, and we were talking about how far that seems, and now we're 5 years past that. So I don't like this. Time sucks.
It's scary. It's scary. That's what I mean. I think it was Tim that was saying to me that his mortgage or whatever, like the end date for, or maybe it was you. Was it you that said to your mortgage end date was like some stupid far distant future time period?
Yeah.
It was like 2047 or something stupid like that.
Because we made the Blade Runner joke.
That's right. Okay. Solicitation for March. I've not even looked at these yet. This is going to be a journey of discovery. I have been very busy this past few days. I mean, partly because I made an effort to go see Godzilla -1, and I'm glad I did that, but...
Yes. I can't wait to talk to you about when we're all done, so we don't take time from the show.
Yes. So, first up for March solicits, we got Batman 145. That makes sense. Batman's looking pretty worse for the wear. He's got bandages all over his head.
Looking like Hush.
He does look a bit like Hush, actually.
Still got Zdarsky, but also Jimenez, so that's good.
Yeah. Hard to... I mean, it does at least say following Joker year 1, so that's over at least. But I'm not feeling thrilled with where Batman is right now as a book. It is what it is. Suicide Squad Dream Team issue 1, written by Nicole Maines, and Dreamer's on the cover. I was going to say, is this the first time she's done something that's not Dreamer, but Dreamer's on the cover?
I mean, it is called Dream Team.
True.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was like a pun or a double meaning, but. Eddy Barrows and Eber Ferreira on the art. When Amanda Waller makes her move to seize the ultimate power in the DCU, nothing will stand in her way, not even the future. Spinning out of the events of Titan's Beast World comes the story of Dreamer, the precog Dreamwalker who has a run afoul of the most powerful hungry villain in DCU history. With superpowered hero with a superpowered hero who can see the future on her side, is Waller's Suicide Squad finally unstoppable? Join Harley Quinn, Bizarro, Clock King, Black Alice, and Deadeye for the fight for DC's future and the next big step towards the cataclysmic event of 2024. So they're teasing the 2024 event, whatever that is.
Already, yeah.
I don't know. And also, notably, Nicole Maines is going solo on this as a writer. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. I don't know if I'm going to like it, but...
Yeah. I do like Bizarro being part of the Suicide Squad for whatever reason, you know? Like, that's a nice change from our typical... Same with Black Alice. I like Black Alice as well.
Does that mean Amanda Waller's going to have to tell him to do good things to get him to do the bad things she wants?
Mm-hmm.
Very possible. Next up, we got Batman Dark Age issue 1, which is Mark Russell writing with Mike Allred on the art. Interesting.
Yep. So this is the inverse to the Space Age Superman book.
Yeah, of course. So is this a one shot then? 48 pages.
I think Space Age was 2. Because it was 2 big, oversized, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe there's a few issues of this one. They seem to have stopped doing the of 4, of 5, of 6. We don't see that in the solicits as much anymore. Me, Bruce Wayne, Gotham's favorite delinquent son, in an origin story like no other, witness the boy become a dark knight, shaped by a city in turmoil as it marches towards its prophesized doom. Set against the backdrop of actual historical events, Gotham comes alive, filled with the iconic characters who've loved and hated Batman over the years like you've never seen them before, spinning out of the Eisner-nominated Superman Space Age. Yeah, okay. There you go.
Interesting. I wonder, so like with Superman, it made sense. It was running up through that, you know, that kind of New Frontier era Superman. I wonder what events Batman's going to, you know, take part in. But yeah, Russell usually hits. I gotta go back and read Space Age. So I read the first issue, and then it came out on a week that was overstuffed. So I never got to finish.
Yeah, maybe more shadowy stuff, more Cold War era things, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a thought. Yeah. Batman Superman World's Finest issue 25, or 25 issues into that come March. So, yeah, this is an oversized special issue. It's 40 pages, this one. So, you got Dan Mora and Steve Pugh on the art. Very nice cover with Batman, Superman, Lex Luthor, and Joker all featuring. So, very interesting. This will showcase the first meeting between Joker and Lex Luthor. So, that's cool. Yeah. Also,
spinning out the events of the World's Finest Annual Doomite. So, it's not like there's a Doomsday Batmite imp. So, I trust in Waid.
Oh yeah, he's earned the trust. Wonder Woman 7 next. Tom King, of course, still here. Fantastic cover by regular artist Daniel Sampere. However, Matt spoiled it with his noise there, but we have a different artist on this issue, and it's a sad state of affairs. I'll say that. Gilliam March is doing the art for issue 7 of Wonder Woman. Well, it sounded like from Twitter that Sam Pier's still doing issues, so I'm going to assume this is just a fill-in.
It does from the description. It seems like it's like a break in whatever the bigger story is.
Sure.
So you know.
Okay, that's okay. I'm glad I saw him tweeting about how he hopes to keep doing Wonder Woman, because it at least comforts me when I see Gilliam March's name in the solicits.
Yes.
Hell, that might have even been why he posted it on Twitter. Maybe the solicits came out.
It's a bump, yeah. It's a mere bump in the road.
Yes, but yes, it covers Wonder Woman and Superman. It's they've got a sort of symmetrical sort of thing going for it. It's very nice. We have Batman Dylan Dog issue 1. Am I supposed to know who a Dylan Dog is?
So, do you remember there was that movie with Brandon Routh that came out probably 15 years ago? Dylan Dog, Dead of Night. It's based off of an Italian comic series. I
have literally never heard of this.
None? Okay. That's my limited experience with it. And I tried to watch that movie and did not get through it.
See how the fates of Batman and Dylan Dog intertwined in the past through their lethal nemesis, the Joker, the Clown Prince of Crime of Gotham City, and Professor Zabaris. A mad genius with a taste for bringing the dead back to life. This is probably an easy skip, I think.
Yep.
Especially since it's they're doing like sort of the oversized three issue thing, but it's 3 books of 88 pages. That's pretty meaty. Which if I
mean,
there you go.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just talking about the art though. The art looks like it's going to take advantage of those bigger pages.
Oh
right?
sure, yeah. I think if like maybe Roberto Riccioni, who's the writer here, maybe they're great. I don't know, but if that was a name I recognised and was excited about, I'd be down for the 80-page book. But given that you're mixing a writer I don't know with a character who I have never heard of, it's hard to get excited by this.
I believe they're a paranormal investigator in the vein of Constantine, but they're not as not swarthy, but like you know how Constantine is. You can't trust him. Dylan Dog's a little bit more, good on the alignment chart. So,
Batman and Robin issue 7, Joshua Williamson, Simon DeMeo, as it's been. So that's Rocket. We'll talk more about the newest issue later. Detective Comics 1083, Ram V, run still going strong. We got Federici art on this one along with Stefano Rafael. So that's pretty cool. Very nice cover there as well.
That cover is spooky in the best way.
Yep. So it seems to be back to monthly by March. It may have already been monthly in the last couple of solicits. I can't remember, but certainly by March. Then we got Nightwing 112. Tom Taylor, Sam Basri on the art for this one. Another great cover with just a lot of negative white space. With this has got Batman and Nightwing both on the cover. So, very good. We got Birds of Prey issue 7 with Leonardo Fernandez on the art on this issue. But we got notably Babs is on the cover for this one.
Yeah.
So, Batgirl's joining in a little bit.
Yep.
That's cool.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking about it. Did they say when the book started that the cast would rotate a little bit? I think they did say that.
I think that's what Kelly Thompson said, is that the first team was very specific for the first story, getting onto Themyscira. So I think as long as Canary and a Batgirl are there somewhere, they can kind of plug and play.
That's interesting. Then we have Outsiders issue 5. We'll talk about issue 2 of that later. We got Catwoman 63, still Teenie Howard on that book. We got the Penguin issue 8. So that's a nice cover with Penguin look up at the bat.
G. Domenico.
On the cover, yeah. Harley Quinn 38. We got Poison Ivy issue 20. We have Red Hood The Hill issue 2. Obviously that was announced last time. This does say off 6, so maybe they are pointing out the miniseries. Maybe some of these ones that we just assume are miniseries aren't miniseries.
Yeah, aren't. They're ongoings.
We got Batman Brave and the Bold issue 11 with... That's quite a nice cover, actually, all the police tape and like sort of Batman behind it. I like that. But you got Action Comics 1063 as a very, very pink cover.
I love it.
There's something with Superman and Bizarro on it.
It's well there's that, and just it's the gradient. I'm a fan of that gradient that goes from orange, magenta, pink, purple. And that's what this cover has. It's just it looks straight from the 80s in the best way.
Yeah, it makes me think of the 80s as well. Superman 12, we got that there. David Baldwin on art with this one. Campbell's still doing the covers. We have Power Girl issue 7. We have Kneel Before Zod issue 3. This is the Joe Casey and Dan McDade book. We got The Flash issue 7, which I'm just... I thought I was in Gorilla City there for a second on that cover, but then all the statues are all speedsters, so never mind.
Yeah, it's the Zen Garden that he went to in the last issue.
Yeah. We have Speed Force issue 5, which is 5 of 6. We have Sinister Sons issue 2 by Tomasi. We got Amazon's Attack issue 6, which does not seem to be a final issue, which I am more than happy about, actually.
Yeah, so we got Josie Campbell and Georgiev, so
yeah,
that's good.
I think that was one that we assumed was probably a miniseries, but they never said it was, and it seems like it may not be. But so hopefully that keeps going.
Oh no, it says find out in this epic finale where the forces of harmony and discord clash. So it looks like this is the final. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's just the finale of the arc. Yeah.
Yeah, it could just be the end of the arc. But then again, that does mark it up where, it could just be the final issue again.
Right.
We'll find out in the next Solicits, I guess. We have Titans issue 9, which has got a Chris Samney cover. Out of nowhere, but yeah, Lucas Meyer's on the art on this particular issue. I don't know if I know who Lucas Meyer is. I don't know if I have expectations on their art.
Yeah.
But
you can't really tell because of the Samney art, you know.
Yeah, it's not their cover, so you can't judge it. Yeah. We have Green Arrow issue 10, which I'm sure Matt will still put himself through.
Yeah, you know, there's always one book, but so you got Emmy and who are some of these other lady archers? Arrowette, Red Arrow. Oh yeah, remember when Red Canary was a thing?
Oh yeah. Red Canary, Red Arrow. It looks
like a new Speedy.
Arrowette, yeah. Basically, I mean, I don't really know which one's which, but there's a bunch of different names meaning Red Arrow that I could just throw out, and that probably names most of them.
Yeah.
So, that's Green Arrow issue 10. Green Lantern issue 9 with a shockingly gorgeous cover. It's Hal, like,
Steve Beach.
Yeah, he's bursting through the atmosphere, so he's got like the fiery kind of, I don't know, cone around him, I guess you call it. So very interested. Xermanico still on art. Steve Beach cover, like you say. Yeah, gorgeous stuff. We're getting a Sam Humphries backup as well, by the looks of it. Which, curious if he's returning to either Baz or Jessica with that.
So there was a Doc Shaner variant of Jess.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh. I'm excited by that.
So, yeah.
Green Lantern War Journal issue 7. Not much to say except John's fighting some giant monsters on the cover by the looks of it. We have Wesley Dodds the Sandman issue 6. We got Jay Garrick the Flash issue 6. We got Alan Scott Green Lantern issue 6. So I'm sad that the only one out of those three I'm still reading is Jay Garrick. But not for lack of trying, but here's what it is. We have Justice Society of America issue 10 by Johns and Janin.
Who's that supposed to be in the middle?
It looks like Metamorpho in a black Superman suit.
That's what I thought too. So that's why I was like,
I'm sure there's an explanation in the book as to who or what that is.
For sure.
We have Shazam issue 9. Still Lupacchino on the art.
And we got the Creeper.
Yeah, we got Creeper. Literally on his back on the cover. Dan Moore cover, very nice. We have Blue Beetle issue 7. We have the April special. Matt's eyes are lighting up. So, it's not. I thought it was going to be one of those 80-page anthologies. It's only a 48-page anthology. But you've got John Layman, Joshua Hill Fialkov, and Jean Lin Yang writing. Probably 3 different stories, I assume. Or 4 different stories even. And art by Carol Moster, Phil Hester, and Bernard Chang. I assume the Yang story's probably Monkey Prince.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, so it's all apes. You got Gorilla Grodd, you got Detective Chimp, you got a whole host of ape characters.
Yeah, so it says, let me just read this out loud because this made me laugh.
Go on.
Gorilla Grodd's recent wait. You want me to wait?
Encarsa Ape Sean.
Yes.
There you go.
And the page of the Flash has left a void that left Monsieur Mallah is more than happy to fill. Ape assembling a group of the DCU's most sinister simians, Mallah forms a legion of oh my god, with an eye towards world domination. Whoever wrote this is really earning their keep. But the world won't be conquered that easily. Enter the All-Ape Jungle League. What? That is just, wait. League? Can this team of the heroic anthropoids
This is the board intern who's writing the solicits. He just had a field day with this one. That's all this is.
Yep. I just wanted to get to the prepare a batch of chocolate chip cookies.
I suspect this is kind of loosely tying into the fact that Godzilla vs Kong or Godzilla Cross Kong is out in April, and that's probably what this is. Speaking of which, Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. Issue 6.
Hey, look at that cover.
What am I even looking at? It's Kong upside down. I was like, I wasn't even sure what I was looking at there for a second. But yeah, so that's issue 6 of 7. So that's the penultimate issue of that miniseries, which has been shockingly fun. 2 issues in, frankly. So yeah, a lot of Godzilla stuff to consume right now. You get the TV shows on, -1's out, Cross Kong's coming, the comic books here. There's all sorts happening. We got Superman 78, The Metal Curtain, issue 5. We have Suicide Squad Kill Arkham Asylum, issue 2. Obviously, that's there to help promote the video game, which I'd rather not talk about. Issue 3 is also here. It's double shipping, I guess, in March. Very good. John Constantine, Hellblazer, Dead in America, issue 3. This is the Cy Spurrier and Aaron Campbell Black Label book. Well, I think it's Black Label, but it's a mini-series anyway.
Seems so, because it seems like it's going to be involving Dream and the Endless, so you would think. Sense.
Then we have Primer issue 1. What is this? This is written by Jennifer Muro and Thomas Krajewski.
There you go.
That was my best guess. Art by Gretel Lusky, or Lusky maybe. With a father in prison, Ashley Rayburn has bounced from foster home to foster home and represents a real challenge to the social workers who try to help her. Not because she's inherently bad, but because the trouble always seems to find her. But her luck might just be changing when a new couple offers to take her in. I have no idea what DC characters this is going to relate to. Is this just a new character they're giving a shot to?
Seems like it. Seems like she's going to be doing some graffiti art, right?
I mean, yeah, the cover's kind of cool, actually. It's it's all these like colors at the top as if it's the spray paint dripping behind her. And it's kind of almost a Scotty Young kind of vibe to her.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cartoony, like kids' cartoons.
All right, I've got nothing to go on here because I don't recognize any of these names, but it looks all right, and I'm going to give it a shot.
And it doesn't say it's one of the young, like one of the young kids' lines, right?
No, I don't think so. It's a 40-page book, so it's not one of those graphic novels. Are you searching Ashley Rayburn to see if there's anything on DC Wiki?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, she's known as Primer. First. Oh wow, first appearance was Primer in August of 2020. So maybe this is just a reprint.
I don't know. Maybe she was doing like an anthology story or something, and this is her finally getting her chance to shine. I don't know.
Crazy.
This is just out of nowhere. I'll dare give it a try. It looks all right.
Yeah.
It's just based on.
And it's all the same people. Muro, Krajewski, and Lusky says a superhero graphic novel. So it seems like they are just splitting it up then, right? Because that's.
Well, that's
40 pages.
I mean, this could be new. This could just be them.
I mean, it could be, but it's seeming to me like it's the same cover on this as it was.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It was put out through the graphic novels for kids. So
this
seems like they're
That's it. There's always a chance though they're just using that as a placeholder because they don't have a cover for this yet.
Yeah, no, that's true. But that seems fun. Seems fun enough to read. Like the art looks good.
We'll see if it is actually a new series of some kind. Not necessarily precludes it from being covered if it is coming out as a more digestible issue. Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries issue 3, Looney Tunes 277, Detective Comics 411 Facsimile Edition, Limited Collector's Edition 51 Facsimile Edition, Mad Magazine 37, and that takes us on to the trades and whatnot. We got Barda, written and drawn by Gozi Ukazu.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that N at the start is silent.
Yep.
Yeah, my light flashed before my eyes there when I saw that name. So that's Barda, one of these original graphic novels. We also have Batman and Robin and Howard issue 1, which again, another sort of kids line. Although this is a 40-page book, to be fair. Maybe this is less a graphic novel, more just a one-shot. And then the trades and collections, we got Superman Volume 2, The Chained. Softcover, we have Steelworks miniseries, softcover. We have The Flash Volume 20, Time Heist. And this is $7.97 to $7.99, and 4 stories, from Flash 800. Wait, hold on a second.
That doesn't seem like enough.
Nah, because the last arc was only 3 issues. So what they're doing here is they're giving you that last 3-issue arc, and then they're giving you everything that was
Plus,
in the 800, except probably the first, except for the that starts the new stuff. Yeah. So
that makes sense.
So yeah, they're just giving you everything in 800 except the thing that actually starts the next run, which is fair enough, I guess. It's a bit of a weird collection though, all in. But if you've been collecting the run, you kind of have to have it. Because I got confused there because it said Jeremy Adams, but then it also threw in Jeff Johns, Mark Waid, and Williamson. I'm like, wait, what is this collection? But yeah, it's a bit weird to see it phrased that way because really it's Jeremy Adams, and then there's short stories at the very end,
right,
by these 3 other people. But okay, fair enough. So that's the end of Adams' run. And collection, World's Finest Teen Titans, issues 1 to 6. Which actually, I think that is a miniseries because I don't think is there any issues solicited after issue 6, which we did this week?
Nope.
Nah, so this did turn out to be a miniseries, which is kind of a shame. I was enjoying it quite a bit. I could have done more, but
I think there's room for more down the line. You know, I think we can hit different eras of Titans until we get to Young Justice.
Yeah, or maybe Waid will do other stuff set in the early time period that he's doing with the World's Finest line. But Batman Superman's still going though, because I still get new issues coming out in March.
Yep.
Then we got Batman the Black Mirror Deluxe Edition, which... No, I was going to say it's had a deluxe edition before, but no, it had a hardcover before, but it wasn't a deluxe hardcover.
Yep, because I have the hardcover, so I got signed by Snyder when I met him.
Yeah, I had the hardcover back in the day, so now it's getting a deluxe. That's very cool. It's one of the best Batman stories ever. I recommend it.
Probably my favorite Dick as Batman story.
Yeah, speaking of Absolute Batman Arkham Asylum, also one of the best Batman stories ever by Grant Morrison and Dave McKean. It's fantastic art. That's got a new Absolute edition, which is an interesting one because it's a relatively short story. It's only it's like maybe 80 pages, something like that. It was like an oversized one shot, effectively, that's been given all these big fancy versions. Absolute Batman: The Dark Knight, The Master Race.
That title always makes me cringe.
I forgot this. I remember this, like people talking about this title, but I think in my mind it was something that got cancelled and never came out. But apparently it's getting a new Absolute edition, so I guess it did come out. But yeah, horrible title. I can't imagine the third, much later Dark Knight book from Frank Miller was any good.
I've heard from people that I genuinely respect that it is not. It's a lot better than Dark Knight Strikes Again. So, but I mean, at the point when you're 6 feet under dirt, what's 3 extra feet above you?
Yeah, I think I'm good. DC Pride, Love and Justice. This is obviously the one shot, but it's also got stories from New Year's Evil, Mysteries of Love and Space, and Young Monsters in Love. So probably all the queer related stories by creators from those also shoved with it to make it more of a collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it's nice that people can support this, and I think it's not something I would... Like, these 80-page one-shots typically I find to be a hodgepodge of quality, so the idea of buying a hardcover of one does not appeal to me, but it's nice that they're giving it a bit of a...
Yeah, and if you're collecting certain characters, though, too, it's nice to have a hardcover.
Yeah.
Of certain things.
There's also DC Pride Better Together, which includes DC Pride 2023... along with the debut of Circuit Breaker from Lazarus Planet Dark Fate issue 1 and an Alan Scott tale from DC Pride through the years, so they're doing a couple of these.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me wonders why didn't they just slap this together and make a bigger hardcover, because they're both quite short. Like, one's 140 pages, the other's 150. Just make a 300-page hardcover, charge more for it.
Yeah.
Would have been an easier sell, I think, but there it is. Batman Wayne Family Adventures Volume 4, Vixen NYC Volume 5, Zatanna and the Ripper Volume 3. Then we got Booster Gold, the complete 2007 series, Book 1. So they're doing big, thick trades.
Yeah, let's go.
Of that
I'll
Booster
be buying
Gold
this.
book. Yeah, this is issues 0 through 14 and the 1 million issue. So.
Yep. With
Very
Peter
good.
Platinum, who's the Booster Gold of the year 1 million. Or the 853rd century, whatever it is. This is the story that made me love Booster Gold. So I'm here for this. Also, I did not remember Remender writing on this. So that's interesting.
What else is interesting is that they're doing Nightwing and Night in Bloodhaven Compendium 1. So this is actually the original Nightwing run being collected in a supersized softcover. So 1,000 pages has the original 4-issue miniseries and then the first 25 issues of the 1990s Nightwing book, plus a bunch of like one-shots and tie-in issues that are relevant. So, I mean, it's cool that they're collecting this run again in a different way. Admittedly, at that page count, I'd want a hardcover omnibus, not a softcover.
Yeah,
but
there's no way you're keeping that spine intact.
it's wild though, because it's like just do it in hardcover. Like, people like Nightwing enough. Like, what?
Yeah.
There you go. Adventures of Superman by George Perez, 2024 edition. This is... Oh yeah, this is one of these things that just collects either the writer or the artist, doesn't it? Yeah, this is more of an anthology, if you will.
80s Superman, it seems like.
Yeah. But they're kind of split up, though. It's not all just like one run of something.
Yeah.
Although it does include New 52 issues 1 through 6, which everyone loves. Of Superman. New edition of 52, Volume 1. So that's the first half. So again, that's like 584 pages of that bad boy. Batman Fortress by Gary Whitta, which I dropped hard after one issue, getting a softcover. Blood Syndicate Season 1, softcover. Justice League Volume 3, League of Chaos. This is the last of the Bendis stuff, I think. And then you got Superman Space Age softcover. We got New Champion of Shazam. That's the Josie Campbell Mary Marvel book and softcover.
Nice.
Sandman Universe Nightmare Country softcover. Zatanna by Paul Dini, new edition, also softcover.
I do love that cover, the hues.
Oh sure.
So.
And then Fables, the Deluxe Edition, book 16, and that wraps up the slot. There's a lot of collections this month. To be fair, I do remember saying last month that there wasn't a lot of trades and collections, so I guess they were making up for it with this month's list.
This week.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oofed. Alright, well, there's the solicits. Not a lot of shiny new things. There was one or two like minis or whatever, but nothing earth-shattering. I suspect we're building up to whatever the big summer event's going to be. Might get the first taste of that in the May solicits, so a couple months yet.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. So,
shake this off, get this going. You know, pre-stretch
the
marathon.
Matt throwing out a yawn just before we start talking about the books is a great sign.
Yep.
It's a great omen for things to come.
Hey, I played football this morning for an hour and a half. So, you know, I'm letting the caffeine kick in, and we'll be good to go.
Yes. The rugby football, not the foot football.
I'm not kicking a ball and chasing it down. All right. I'm gonna throw some bodies around, you know, jam my finger, which is still did not think of my clicking finger when I jammed it today. So that's made clicking the mouse really, really difficult.
every click's just a jolt of pain up the arm.
No, it is. It's like an electric, you know, because I jammed it going not the normal way when you jam your finger. It's jammed going sideways. So every time I move it just to move the mouse around. Fun times. Getting old, guys. 10 out of 10 don't recommend. Stay young forever.
Simple advice. All right. Let's get into things then. Titans Beast World issue 2. Tom Taylor writing with Ivan Reis on the art. obviously, we wrapped up the end of issue 1 with the spores from Beast Boy going around the world and infecting people, and that's pretty much where we picked things off with Beast World issue 2. Focusing largely on Nightwing, I would say, more than anything in this issue. But yeah, we get this reaction on Earth. Although we get a cool little moment with Animal Man where he's like sort of losing his mind because he can just sort of feel all the new animals being born.
Yeah, so the morphogenic field's in complete disarray with all these spores out there turning people into animals, which I did like that it touched on that, right? Because of how it affects the red. So I'm sure this will be something that pops up.
Yeah, no, it was nice. Nightwing and Batman are saving people in Bloodhaven, and Batman goes to save a kid who's still trapped in a car, and he elbows the windshield. Badass little moment for him. But then he gets grabbed by a bunch of the animals, and he basically hands the grapple gun to the kid and says, "Hold on tight, Nightwing will catch you." So he lets the kid grapple off up into the buildings, and Nightwing has to come swinging down to grab him. It's kind of a sweet moment though, because the kid asks, "Is Nightwing your son?" And Batman smiles and says yes. I thought that was sweet.
And he'll catch you. I like that. He goes, "Is that your son? Or are you his dad?" "I am." "And he'll catch you." It's what he does. Anytime there's a moment like that where Bruce is proud of the person Dick has become, it makes me a little, my heart light shine.
You feel it in your tummy. So there's a monster comes after him. It's actually a snake looking thing.
This is my main question on this, and this is not a criticism, it's a pure curiosity. I want to know what makes people certain animals. I don't know if it has to be answered, but like, why is this a snake person? I
don't think it will. Maybe they have pet snakes. I don't know. Look, maybe they just.
Yeah, that's all. That's just a curiosity here. But yeah, and we learned something pretty big storyline wise.
Yeah,
about the spores.
I don't want to gloss over something here though. Which is Nightwing's line of dialogue. On a scale of 1 to Bane, how broken are you?
Yeah.
That is a fantastic line of dialogue.
Yes.
I'm just going to point that out. But yeah, what we learn here is that the spores will leave their host and attack someone else if they perceive that someone else to be a stronger host. So immediately there's this fear that all the most powerful superheroes are actually putting the world in danger by being anywhere close to these spores. But likewise here, this snake person, the spore comes out of them, they go back to normal, and the spore goes into Batman. So Batman becomes a dog, basically, a wolf.
Oh, he's a wolf of some kind. This is another thing, because when we get to the World Tour, the Gotham issue, it seems like certain families have certain features, which I just think is weird. So how it just works out that way. But Werewolf Batman is something I'm here for.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about why people are turned into what animals. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
This whole page here, the art where Bruce is turning, and it's a werewolf movie, Yeah. From the way that he looks over with the wide eyes and, and get away from me. It's real good.
Oh, the thing that hit me though was the bottom of the page where his last moment of humanity is he says, "Please don't let me hurt anyone." Like that really rang true for me. And then he's full wolf on the next page, big full page spread. Ivan Reis kind of killing it. The bat costume ripping apart as the claws and the fur coming out.
Yeah,
really good stuff. Oracle's back at base, calling shots and whatnot. And she's basically like, "Hey, Starfire, Donna, I know you're fighting, Lion Black Adam, and you're dealing with stuff in Kandak. But here's a bit of a wrinkle. You can't let the spores get near you, because if they come into you, then the world's got an even bigger problem." It is interesting, though, because it does suggest that there is a very specific amount of spores. It's not like they keep multiplying. There's a very specific hard number, and there'll never be any more.
Right.
So.
I mean, yeah, it's not quite a zombie infection, right? Where you have to worry about, being infected and it spreading that way. But But yeah, it definitely makes it curious because it adds a containment factor here.
Yeah,
which I think I feel like Taylor's learned from writing Deceased, right?
It adds a risk reward to any of the heroes trying to deal with any of the problems, but it also does neatly tell us right away this isn't permanent. They can turn back. This woman who was the snake turns back into a person as soon as it goes into Batman. So clearly they can be turned back. This is not something we have to write our way out of later. If they get rid of the spores, the people go back to normal, right? That's just clear how it's going to work. But yeah, so Nightwing's fighting Wolf Batman and ends off going up over the bridge into the water. It's a fun sequence. Yeah, so then we go to Amanda Waller, who's with Dr. Hate in Peacemaker, and everything that Dr. Hate did in that one shot last month does not matter.
No.
Doesn't matter.
This is the stupid helmet squad, if I'm going to be honest.
Oh, yeah, because Peacemaker and Dr. Fate both have similar dodgy-looking helmets.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, I'm working with the Lords of Chaos in here. That's why this is such a chaotic thing. But this scene's building up to Amanda Waller going to the president and basically acting for carte blanche to do, she's asking for the power, for the authority to clean up this mess, and particularly points out as a convincing factor, if you don't give me the power, you're not leaving this up to the Justice League, you're leaving this up to a bunch of 20-somethings. So it's really putting the focus on the fact that it's the Titans who are going to have to clean up this mess, that they're the heroes of this story, and that Amanda Waller's looking down on them, and that'll make it all the more delicious when they...
Yeah, and in the grand scheme of things, what Taylor's been doing since he's been writing all these books at DC is that story of the older generation not fully trusting the younger generation, right? That's been through his John book in Superman. It's been through Titans and Nightwing, right? And so here it's reinforcing that whole idea where we're going to have to trust the kids, so I never want to be on the same side of Amanda Waller for anything. So the fact that she's trying to use that as a cudgel is a good sign, that we're on the right side. But I did like too that the president's wife, the first lady, has become an otter and attacked 2 Secret Service people and is currently eating fish in the White House pool. Again, some of the lines in here are really hysterical.
It's a funny book. Like, it's doing the drama very well, but it's a very funny book at times. The book just ends with Nightwing dragging unconscious Batwolf out of the water, and he's got scratches and claw marks all over him, but he's like, okay, I need a cage. I've done it. All right, that's and that's just where if I have one critique is that it ends very suddenly. That's the only critique that I would really levy against it. But I am really digging what the story's doing, and the fact that it gives you those small human moments of, because this is a Titans focused story, it makes sense that Batman's taken out of commission and it is left to Nightwing. So it's like, it's one thing that Titans are officially the Justice League right now, but does it really mean much if things kick off and then the Justice League are all there to help anyway? It doesn't, it means less. So the fact that Batman's now out of commission and some of the others might be taken out of commission as the story goes on, it's just going to reinforce that this is the Titans getting their chance to be the ones to really save the day.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Well,
and how do you get that support out of Batman, right? If Batman's one of the bigger threats, how, you know what I mean? It's not really going to leave him for anybody less than, a mega power. So that also adds a bit of degree of difficulty.
Obviously, there's going to have to be a way to get it out of everyone regardless, but clearly they've not thought of that yet. Too much chaos to deal with in the meantime. Yep. But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun. I had some sweet moments with the kid early on. I like the Dick and Bruce relationship that Taylor's very good at writing. He has been good at that all throughout his Nightwing run. So this was definitely more of a Nightwing focused issue, and it really played to Taylor's strengths. But we'll see how some of the other characters get to shine in forthcoming issues. So
also Taylor putting emphasis on Donna and Starfire as well. Like, if you guys get taken over by these, we're going to be in real big trouble. Yeah. Him spreading that out to them too, puts the Titans up on that level.
Yeah, obviously it's propping them up. It's a minor part of this issue because it is just sort of 1 or 2 quick pages of like them fighting stuff in Kandak, but it does set up that, well, this is something we can focus on maybe next time or whatever. Because there's barely any Raven or Cyborg in this, because they're at the start of the issue being like, what just happened? So they're kind of like away from everything right now, but I'm sure they'll get more involved in the next issue or two. So yeah, no, really solid. Ivan Reis's art again is. I always describe his art as being the very best of house style, and that's kind of what I get from this.
It's kind of like a style format for DC. These are the characters should look like. You know, in fact,
that's a fair point. This might be what I think of as house style because he defined what DC house style was in the 2000s. That might actually be very well true.
So, so it's like, Nightwing looks like Nightwing down to the proportions and everything. So, but yeah, it is weird because I'm so used to Reis drawing like the Justice League characters. So to see him drawing all the Titans and then like, adding these animal aspects to like Batwolf and all this other stuff, he's getting to expand too.
This is the sort of shit that I imagine artists love doing, even if the story's not. And here the story is good, but even when the story's not good, I bet artists just love. Oh, I get to do a wolf version of Batman. I get to do a Falcon version of Wonder Woman or something like. Yeah. I'm sure they just love being able to just stretch their legs and flex their artistic muscles in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
All right, what are you giving Titans Beast World issue 2?
I'm going to give this a solid 8.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. 8 out of 10. Really good time. Titans Beast World Tour Gotham issue 1. We'll talk about the creators as we go because there's like 4 or 5 stories in here. But this, of course, once again, is a tie-in, and we had 2 of these last week, and we hated both of them. It was a miserable time. Yeah. I will say, I think this is the best of the tie-ins so far, but not saying much.
Do you rather be punched in the gut or the balls? That's what you're saying.
Well, I think the first story's okay. Admittedly, the whole story's about where Nightwing's going to put Wolf Batman, and there's some more fighting between them, and at the end of the story, he's in a cage. So if you just read Titans Beast World issue 2, where it ends with him holding like unconscious Batwolf, and he's like, I need to find a cage, like, you don't need to read this. Like, this is just this is implied in the dialogue that he had in the main book. This just shows you that next part.
Right. Well, and I do like that there's the running the through line of, Bruce is still in there, and that, and he's referring to Bruce like a dog, and he's the best boy, and that's the crux of it.
The best part about it is the fact that you do get a little bit of Batman's narration while he's in wolf form, and he's still
that's right,
and he's still kind of in there, and I appreciate that. There's a moment where he's still kind of doing the right thing because Batman's still in there in some capacity. But then Dick tries to rely on that and gets chased anyway. And he's like, okay, he needs to go in a cage. He's not going to like completely be in control. But they team up to fight Killer Croc, who gets transformed into a more overt crocodile, basically.
I mean, the art, he's an alligator, but I'll forgive them for that because I know what they were going for,
Much like Nightwing says, I can't tell the difference. So it's fair enough. Not everyone's a animal nerd like you.
True.
What about his head makes him an alligator, not a crocodile?
So you have to look at the snout. If it's a wider snout, it is definitely an alligator. Alligators have a rounded snout. Okay. It's a bit more broad. Crocodiles tend to come more to a point, right? And then the placement of the teeth, if smile like a crocodile, right? The upper teeth tend to show more when the mouth's closed. It's a crocodile. If the lower teeth tend to show more when the mouth's closed, it's an alligator. These are things that you need to learn if you ever go to Florida.
I think you're screwed either way, if it's a crocodile or an alligator, Matt.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, gators do tend to be a lot more chill. Like, yes, they're very dangerous, but, crocodiles tend to be more,
also, do you even get crocodiles in Florida? I thought it was just alligators.
Yes. Nope. There's American crocodiles. They're a lot smaller than the Nile and saltwater varieties you find in Africa and Australia, but they are there. We went to a Florida zoo when we were in Miami, and they had an entire a grouping of the American crocodiles. And to me, I find them way more scary than the alligators. Because anytime I see an alligator, they're just kind of floating lazily like a log. These crocodiles were hissing. They're very menacing. So, but I mean, it's Killer Croc. That's probably meant to be more of a.
You're not going to go up and pat the alligator, though. You're not feeling that brave about it.
It depends if there's a handler there or not. In the wild, absolutely not. However, I'm not going to pass up a chance not to pet an alligator. You know?
Yeah, okay. Well.
And again, this is where my wife says there's something wrong with me, because I'm also the guy that wants to, you know, that I constantly say about bears. If they're not friends, why are they friend-shaped? You know?
Yeah. I will say the other highlight of this is that I do think Miguel Medoncha, who's on the art for this story, I think he particularly does a very good wolf and a very good alligator. I think the animal stuff here looks great. The faces on the humans are a little whatever, but the shading on the fur and the detail in the wolf, like whenever bat wolf like is grilling at someone or gives a look or something, it does look quite fun. So I do think this is completely and utterly skippable and unnecessary, but I do think what is here in this story is very pleasant enough and a fine tie-in thing. Which is surprising because Chip Zdarsky wrote it and I've been hating his Batman run, but this was okay.
Yeah, well, it does show me too that if you give him, you know, if you give him something, we can get those shines that we liked in Zdarsky's Batman, right? Because we agree that he mostly understands Bruce, right? So the fact that even in animal form, he's thinking that he needs to protect, you know, there's that deep sense in there. And again, the relationship here with Dick and is all kind of there though too.
Well, to be fair, one of the best things he ever did in his Batman run is when all the Bat family were trying to help him with Failsafe. It was one of the better issues he ever did, and it maybe suggests to me that he understands the Bat family more than he understands Batman himself. But I could be wrong there.
Yeah.
But it was just perfectly fine. I was not mad at reading this first story. It goes downhill a bit. After that, I'll say. There's a Harley story next, written by Grace Ellis and art by Daniel Hillard. And this is basically like a goon, like a henchman for one of the villains, is in therapy because he keeps hearing giant bunny footsteps. And everyone thinks he's just imagining it, including the therapist. But then, of course, Bunny Harley Quinn shows up at his therapy session, and she's big and bulky and muscly. I think the weird thing about this story to me is that this implies that she's been stalking this guy for weeks, and I'm like, is Beast World even going to last that long in continuity? I don't think it is. I think it's going to be a few days.
What was the movie? Was it Jimmy Stewart where he sees the giant?
Harvey, you're thinking of.
Harvey, yeah. I was getting shades of Harvey, which, you know, here. But yeah, this is where I went, oh no.
This
is the second story?
This was just fluff. This was just like someone had a weird bunny-related idea with Harley because they thought the visual was funny. And the visual's mildly amusing.
I like the art by Hilliard. I think it fits the vibe of the Harley and Ivy stuff that I've read. You know, it's a little bit cartoony, but still just enough. Like, it has those nice, clean lines. And like the bunny Harley that's hulking looks scary. Like, it's, you know... But yeah, the story itself was just kind of like,
It just doesn't fit the vibe of the event at all. It doesn't fit anywhere. And the whole story apparently was to get this guy to give up his phone because Poison Ivy sent in Bunny Harley Quinn to get it. And I got to the end of this and went, well, that was like 4 minutes, so I'm not getting back.
That was nothing, it
was pointless. And then there's a Red Hood story called Scavengers. This is written by Gretchen Felker Martin and art by Ivan Sharvin. And this is Red Hood as a wolf. And, you know, again, like, I didn't really think much of the story. It's kind of a big fat load of nothing. I will say I was kind of into the art, though. I think the art looks quite pretty. Wolf Red Hood looks kind of cool. But not much really happens. It's just Red Hood's inner monologue as he's fighting some SWAT team guys, and then eventually, Ratcatcher, who's a giant rat, comes out and he fights him.
Yeah, like a giant mole rat.
Yeah.
You know, very, very scary. I do appreciate the fact that the mask, the domino mask that Jason wears, is still on his wolf form. I thought that was kind of funny.
Joey, it looks like someone draws the big bad wolf. That's the sort of wolf vibes that I get from him.
Well, I was gonna complain about the proportions of the arms, but then I realized that's the entire issue. That's just the way that this artist is chosen to draw Wolf Jason. because on that one page where he starts to fight Ratcatcher on the opposite page, his arms look super, super long, but then I look over and that's just how it is. But no, the art, I really enjoy all the Wolf stuff. I never need to see him blown up in the warehouse again. That's up there with the pearls. You know what I mean? But yeah, this was much more the vibe of Beast World. This felt more than the last one.
Yeah, it felt like
this is currently ongoing.
It felt like it fit, yeah. Next up, this is the thing. There's actually more stories in this one than the one from last week. But the downside to that is that a lot of them are really short. These last 4 are all quite short, including the Red Hood one.
And quality doesn't make up for quantity, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So
Huntress is next, and she's fighting a dude. She's trying to arrest a dude, a councilman who's corrupt, and then she turns into a jaguar or something.
A panther. Yeah.
You think a panther? Okay.
Yeah.
And so and this is nothing. Well, I do. Don't get me wrong. I do like that Cass shows up. I like that Cass is taking on Huntress, but it's all just a build up to a joke. It's a punchline of a story, because the joke is that when Cass pulls out her grapple gun with a laser sight, which by the way, we've never seen them have a laser sight before. It's just for this story, and the joke is that Panther Huntress starts chasing the laser sight, and Cass just looks bored as she's moving the laser sight around.
It is kind of funny though. For a bit, I do think it's funny. Not with the pages though. You know what I mean?
I think
if this was a background thing in the Beast World main book, I think it would be fine.
See if this was 3 panels in the background where you do a panel setting up, and then a few pages later when other things are going on, you just see in the background that Cass is moving one of the cat people with a laser sight. That would be funny as a little background gag. As a 4, 5, 6 page story, whatever this was, it was tedious, and I love Cass, and I even like Huntress a lot, but I just this did nothing for me.
So here's one nitpick I have, where it says Cassandra Cain, better known as Batgirl. The 4th one once replaced Helena as Batgirl, but it's fine. When was Helena ever Batgirl?
No, that was a thing. My issue here wasn't that it was that she replaced Helena, because I'm pretty sure Helena did moonlight as a Batgirl briefly before No Man's Land or during the start of No Man's Land, right? I think it was early No Man's Land, and then Cass became proper Batgirl.
Okay.
However, I'm not sure where the number 4, if you count Helena as a Batgirl, which is a bit of a cheat because it wasn't a long-term thing, but if you include that as a Batgirl, then that would make Cass 3rd and Stephanie 4th, I would have argued. Admittedly, though, there's so many comic books that it's entirely possible that there's 9 Batgirls, and I'm just missing some of the short-term ones that I can't remember or just didn't know about.
But so I didn't even realize that Helena was ever Batgirl.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. She never had a Batgirl book. It wasn't something that became a mainstay feature. It was just she was going around as Batgirl, I think, at the start of No Man's Land, because it was during No Man's Land when Cass became Batgirl.
Right. That's where she made her first appearance, right? Yeah. It was in the suit that we all know, the orphan suit, with the blacked out eyes. Or did that come after?
I can't remember that well. I remember that. I think it was Helena who was running about as a Batgirl before that. When Batman wasn't there, I think Helena was running around trying to keep the idea of the Bat alive because chaos was ensuing. So I don't know. It's I'm sure in some way it's probably a correct statement, but the number 4 definitely threw me off.
That's what it threw me off completely, because I was like, I mean, she kind of. I don't know. Second Batgirl to me.
I don't know if. Again, they're clearly counting Helena, and that's fine. I wouldn't, but at least in their sentence they are. But I just there's probably some Silver Age Batgirl that was there for a little while or something.
Not our Kate, but the other Kate.
Yeah, maybe they're counting. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know.
But either way.
But all the build up for a joke too. So, and that's where I tapped out, because I was like, I have other books.
But the last story was Stephanie Brown, so I had to read and see what it was.
Yeah, which I wanted to, but and also I don't like Kelly Jones's Batman that much. I think the ears are too big, everything.
Yeah, but Batman's not in this story, so...
I know. That's what I'm saying. Flipping through the art right now, the art looks fantastic. Like, his stuff looks great. The I'm guessing that's Killer Moth because it's a giant moth creature. Looks great. So, yeah, Kelly Jones. That's also why I tapped. I was like, it's Kelly Jones. I don't...
Yeah, it's,
I was wrong. The art's good.
Yeah, it's Kel Stark's writing this one. It's basically, again, it's really short. Like, I love that both Steph and Cass got stories here, but they are both really short changed in terms of like page count. It's basically just Steph investigating this warehouse because there's an animal attack inside, and it turns out to be Killer Moth, who is literally now a big... Well, he's not even a moth. He's actually turned into a cockroach, but it is Killer Moth. And
gotcha.
This also kind of builds up to a joke. Don't get me wrong, it's not as stupid as the previous joke. This is more of a sort of typical comic book joke where Killer Moth Roach basically severs Steph's belt, and she's like, you know what? I don't need my tricks to beat you. I just need my boots because you're a roach. And then the next page, she's walking out of the building with this like goo, like, you know, cockroach blood all over her boots.
Neon green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, boys, it's fine. Everything's dealt with. So it's, you know, it wasn't an annoying story. It was vaguely amusing. And like you say, Kelly Jones Steph does look all right. Little bit over-sexualized in the boob region, but...
Well, as I was saying that, too, about the Kelly Jones art, there's a page that is just essentially just a looking down her butt, you know, in an impossible position.
There's definitely some...
So there's some of that.
Yeah, there's definitely some dated, you know, sex appeal stuff in the art going on. But, no, you know, like, probably my second favorite story of the book, which is not saying a whole lot, but it is what it is. Needless to say, do I recommend you buy this tie-in issue? No, I don't really. It's better than the ones from last week, but not by much. It's just less frustrating. And even then, it's still frustrating for some of them. But it's definitely pissed me off far less than the ones from last week. So I think you read enough of it, Matt. What are you rating? Yeah, the Gotham
I'm going to
tour?
give this, and it's mostly for art that's pretty decent throughout. I'm going to give this a 6.
Yeah, I think a 6 sounds about fair. I think it, well, 5.5. I think it's just over the line. I'll say 5.5 because it's just over the line. I think the first story's a decent enough read, but again, not essential. Last story's an okay enough read, but very not essential. And then there's some crudge in the middle. There's some nice art here or there. There's some ugly art elsewhere. It's just, you know, it's a bit of a hodgepodge, but it's got more positives than anything from last week's tie-ins did. So there you go. World Tour Gotham issue 1. Detective Comics 1079 Ram V writing with Jason Sean Alexander on the art, and also Liam Sharp. Yeah, I forgot to write down the other name.
Gotcha.
So yeah, this wraps up the current arc, which is the how do we rescue Batman from being hanged, and of course the end of last issue. It seemed like they failed, and Batman, you know, the noose was dropped, and off he went. So this is the issue where you're like, okay, but what's really going on? What's Selina's real plan? And sure enough, that's what this issue is. It's the reveal of what the plan was all along. And you get this thing where, okay, they've won. Batman's hanging from the noose. The art's gorgeous here early on. And the big turning moment comes when the woman, who we believe is Catwoman, who's with the Argams, says, you keep calling me Selina Kyle. My name's Aiko. And you're like, wait a minute, what's she done? And then, because it sort of recaps where everyone is. It recaps where Cass and Freeze are. It recaps where Cheshire and Shoes are. And it's like recapping all these things and where Azrael is. And it's like, yeah, this part's meant to be the distraction. This part's meant to be that. But then it's like, no. That part was actually the distraction. This part had a very different purpose. And it turns out that when Selina broke in to see Bruce the night before, she used some poison to make him appear to be dead when the adrenaline kicked in, when the noose was dropped, but he's not actually dead. And Selina is actually dressed as one of the SWAT team from the van who are going to take him. So basically, and this, I love this. She phrased it this way: is that I'm not good at rescuing people, but what I am very good at is stealing things. So I stole Batman. That's perfect.
That got me. All I kept thinking is, how's Selina going to get out of this jam, right? I mean, she talked about bluffing in the last issue, and so here she brings that back up. Is that to make them buy the bluff? Sometimes you got to take a hit, right? Basically, pull them in to get them off balance. And that all comes, and then when you realize that's Ico, not Selina, and Selina is pulling an Ocean's 11 and is with the SWAT team. Oh my god, I had the biggest dumbest smile on my face reading this.
Yeah, it was just a really satisfying conclusion. I think this was the perfect art to do double shipping with, because it was such a condensed, like, it's all taking place over like 5 minutes basically as they walk him up to the gallows and hang him. It's all taking place in that short span of time, so this was a perfect thing to get a quicker pacing with. Obviously, Freeze betrays Cass at a certain point because he doesn't really need the reality engine, and they predicted this. They knew he was going to betray them eventually. Yeah. It just didn't really matter by that point. But luckily, I think is it Cass that needs help, and then out comes the question to help. This was like the wild card, because obviously Gordon spoke to Montoya and made her question how involved she was and all that. So we get that payoff as well, and that was super exciting to see. So all that stuff really, really good. Yeah, it's Cass she's helping because all the free stuff's behind them. So it's very good, and it's like, okay, they've probably figured out that they've taken Batman and he's probably still alive at this point. So they're going to be scouring the streets. So they're in hiding, and they go, I think it's actually the place in the Catwoman book when Ram V was writing, like their hideout at the railway yard. Yeah. I think it's the same place. So that's a nice little bit of continuity.
Check out.
Yeah. And the issue...
with shoes... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, the issue ends with Selina basically saying, yeah, like, we're kind of screwed if we stay in Gotham. I kind of need help. And the reveal is that she's already contacted Talia, because Talia's got a boat. And that can get Batman away, and maybe some more of them, depending on who goes. Yeah. But the idea that Selina went to Bruce's ex for help is a great little, like, oh, that's how much this meant to her. She went to Talia to team up, because that's how much it meant to save Batman. That sells everything so well. And then there's a final little tease in the last panel of the coin going up, and it's like, oh, Two-Face is about to be a factor again. And because he was such a big part of the first arc of this run, but he's been in the background since, because we've been focusing on other stuff. So it's just this little tease of like, no, he's coming back in next time. So look forward to that.
Yeah, big week for Two-Face between City of Madness and then this tease right here. But yeah, when you turn the page and it's Talia, and then you get reminded of the Orgums and the Al Ghuls and their entire... they're enmeshed with one another. It's just, this feels more epic than it has. And I mean that not in the popular sense of the word epic. This feels like an old epic story at this point now. That we're getting generations now involved of these two ancient families. Very, very exciting.
And credit to the art here, because I did not notice an artist change when I was reading it. I'm sort of skimming through it to see if I can tell where the...
You can, if you know what to look up for with Sharp, it's clear that it's Sharp, because Sharp's art's a little bit more ethereal and dreamlike. The
art's very good though.
Alexander's.
I really want to compliment that there's a panel where it's so... Cheshire and Shoes with Grundy come smashing through the wall, and that's where they're going to team up with Selina and get Batman to safety. There's a panel here where Selina's in a SWAT uniform, right, and she just got her helmet off, and I can still tell it's Selina. I want to compliment the art on that, because that's very good. You can tell that it's her in a different outfit. So that's really good. There's also a sweet moment between Shoes and Cheshire, because she's like, no, I'm not leaving you again. I'm not going anywhere. So, yeah.
And even Selina refers to them as the Cheshires now at this point.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah. And I even just love the way all the bits sort of play off each other, because you've got Azrael fighting the wolf man.
Yep.
And then he's like, okay, I'm going to turn my sword into flames. And you see this box of grenades. And then the very next page, you actually see back where the Batman was being hanged and where the crowd is, and you just see the explosion in the distance. I love that sense of geography of like, okay, that's happening over there, and now that's catching their attention, and now this is the distraction. Like I loved the sense of all the different elements all playing off of each other, because it really felt like it was well orchestrated in that sense. And it's right after that where Aiko confesses she's not Selina.
Yeah. Also, when Azrael, Ramvi, you can tell is having fun writing Azrael's dialogue, because everything sounds like he's a maniac. When he's fighting the wolf, and he's like, and I didn't even have my sword of flame, and the art really comes through too, because the werewolf guy turns back into his regular form, and he looks terrified. You know, it's just like, you know, you guys got rid of Bruce's Batman, but you brought something even worse in, and that's Azrael. You know, this man's an unhinged religious maniac. So I do like how the different parts of Gotham are. It seems like Gotham is fighting back through the reality engine, you know, between Question and Azrael and Selina and Shoes. And these are all people that are part of the Gotham Underground at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's real good stuff.
And Gordon's with Selina right now, so I wonder if Gordon's going to interact with Talia. Is he going to be in the boat with Batman? Like, how deep is he going here in all this? So, very interesting to see how that plays out. So that was the main story, super satisfying. The backup is the story of, and I swear I'll learn these names of all the various organs at some point.
It starts with a D, right? The mom?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's like Daria.
I was gonna say Daria, but yeah.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Yeah. Does she not have like a cooler like villain name though as well? Maybe I'm.
Yeah. She should be Madame Orgum, right? Like that's. But that's where we're at.
This is the story of her traveling to Gotham in the boat. So this is set a little bit in the past, and it's basically this idea that she poisoned the entire crew because some of them were assassins. Sent by Talia, and the captain's like, "What are you talking about? I've worked with these men for years." And then immediately one of his crewmen are like, "Death to you in praise of the Al Ghuls!"
I also love how that plays in with Nightwing and the whole pirate culture, right? Where same thing happened. It was like no one would betray, and then you turn around and someone on the crew is betraying the captain. I thought that was pretty funny.
That made me laugh. Yeah, I got a good chuckle out of that. And what was interesting though, to tie this into more Batman-y stuff, is that the story ends with Mummy Orgum here going out and looking at Gotham. She's almost in the Titanic spot of the ship where she's like, I'm the queen of the world kind of thing. But there's one survivor, right? There's one person who wasn't poisoned, and he's terrified, and he comes out and starts being, please, just how much is this going to hurt? Like, is this going to hurt when I die? And she's like, silly child, I have not poisoned you. And it sounds like, she wants to do the Batman thing or the Freddy Krueger thing where she's like, people don't know how to fear the Orgums yet. So you're going to run off and you're going to tell people what's happened here. And they won't believe you completely, but there'll be enough fear in your eyes that they'll just have a moment of doubt. And in time, that fear of our existence is going to build. And we're going to like take back the city kind of thing. We're going to spread the sense of fear again. So it is interesting having villains that are trying to do that when that's fundamentally what Batman also did to the criminals back in the day. So
but because he learned from the Al Ghuls, at least my headcanon is he learned that from the Al Ghuls.
Oh, he learned from a lot of people
in training. Yeah, so he uses the villains. He's using the villain tactics against them. That's the one thing I always did love about Batman, But this was. I'm really liking the Orgums. They have really brought a whole thing where I can see how the Ra's al Ghul, how what he stands for versus what they stand for. They're opposite sides of the same coin. And it's just Ram V and Dan Waters with this have really built a backstory with them that they haven't been with us for a year and a half. When did the Orgum stuff start? Was it that long ago?
Oh, I don't remember. Don't ask me to timeline things, Matt.
So they feel very well developed over this relatively short amount of time.
Yeah, plus the idea that they are so arrogant, like there is a satisfaction you'll get when they eventually fear the Batman. Because right now they don't. They're too arrogant to think they need to fear him. But the time will come when they do, and that'll be very satisfying to behold. So that is Detective Comics. Matt, what are you giving Detective?
I'm giving this a 8.5.
Yeah, I think I might even go a nudge higher and say 9. I think I've loved this arc. It caps it off. I think it's going to read even better when you can just sit and read the whole thing, back to back. Which I guess you can do now if you've got all the issues. But you know what I mean. Now that it's all out, I think just reading through it would be a great experience. So I hope when they put this in the trade, they put all the backups afterwards. Like, don't put the backups in between. Just save them all for the end of the book. I think would be the wise choice. But it's got me super excited for the next part of the story and where we're going with the Argums and all that. Plus the backup was even solid as well.
They pretty much have been since Ram V took over. I really liked all the Two-Face stuff.
Yeah, they mostly have. There's only been one or two that I haven't read or wanted to read, but most of them have been definitely far more appealing than most backups tend to be. So there you go. That's Detective Comics. Action Comics 1060, Philip K. Johnson writing with Eddie Barrows and Eber Ferreira on the art. So this is picking up from, was it Ozul was taken by the...
Ortho.
Was it Ortho?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ortho Ra. I believe, yeah.
Ortho Ra...
I'm going to check.
Ortho Ra the girl got taken by the alternate daughter of Bruce Wayne.
Nora Stone.
Nora Stone. Yeah, but she is a descendant of Bruce Wayne, and
she is Bruce and Talia's daughter. She's from the dark multiverse. So I went back and read that. I went and pulled that issue out of my collection.
Matt, you didn't have enough issues to read this week? Jesus Christ.
I did this at the end of the last. I didn't bring this up after Action, the last one. After we realized who they were, I went back in through because I still have my books out. I still need to put them in a box. Anyways, to refresh what she was all about, and there was the House of Al Ghul, and essentially what they've done, and we find out here too, is that they are going multiverse to multiverse through the dark multiverse, that is, and taking over all of these realms and expanding their empire. And our Earth now is just on the list. And so props to Philip Kennedy Johnson for dropping that Superman Authority special and then coming back to it before the arcs or his run's over.
There's another one shot or special that he comes back to at the end of this as well, which we'll get to. This is an interesting issue because it sets up a lot of the mythology here, which is she was stopped, like her and her people were stopped from hopping from universe to universe, but they found like a new way of doing it, and this is something that Superman goes to Constantine for, because they're using magic to travel. They're using hell as a gateway, so they're going into hell and then coming back out in the other universe, and that's how they're traveling. So that's like the big thing that's set up here with Constantine realizes this when he goes with Superman to sort of check out how they're doing this, because Superman wants to save the girl, obviously, right? He wants to save. He wants to save
his daughter.
Otho.
He sounds like Liam Neeson in Taken. He wants his daughter.
And the big thing at the end is that when Superman, despite the fact that Constantine says you can't go into hell, the cost is too high to travel like this, we have to find another way. Superman's too brash. He's too ready to help, and he jumps in, and I can't remember his name for the life of me. But who did we run into? We run into that character who was becoming the Superman of Hell from that special.
Bloodwind. Yeah.
Bloodwind. Yeah, there you go.
Bloodwind and his friend Etrigan.
Yeah. Well, I don't know who Etrigan is, but Bloodwind was the new character.
I just love when Etrigan and Superman interact, just because it's a literal demon with the Man of Steel.
Yeah, that was the Supergirl story, right? Supergirl went into hell and met him. That was that.
With Doomsday, right? Because Doomsday was taking over hell.
That's right. So we have that. We also have a lot of stuff with Otho, with Nora Stone, and Nora Stone being like, no, you're better than them. You're not Kryptonian. Kryptonians are filth. We're going to kill them all. I do appreciate the evil part of it, though, which was her saying that we're going to make Metropolis not care about them, so that by the time we actually get rid of them, no one's even going to care. Yeah, I made it a bit more sinister. There's a bit more there.
And I like too that in the art they're showing like telling the super family that are still active, right? The Blue Earth people are coming through with the superpowers, and like, well, we don't need you anymore. We have our own, and it's it's making them feel replaceable. But like even Connor points out, like what makes Superman isn't the powers, it's the person behind the powers, So I do like that aspect of it. Is the villains seem to always miss that, it's not just the powers, it's the person wielding them.
Yeah, and we get a new name for Nora Stone, her villain name, if you will, Sister Shadow.
That goes kind of hard. I like it.
It's all right. It could be worse. We'll be talking about Batman and Robin soon. There's definitely some bad villain names that I'm going to be bringing up.
And the part though in this that really hit me was Osul and Kara. And he's freaking out because Osul's never been really that far away from his sister, and the fact that she's not around, him freaking out. So Kara calms him down by reminding him of the Kryptonian legend from which they're going to pull their superhero names, Red Sun and Starlight. And again, this is what Philip Kennedy Johnson's really good at is using these made up mythologies to reinforce the main story. Right. So in the story, Kara tells Osul, about, the seed that had fallen, onto this planet, and it became two children. The two children were found by warring clans, and they were meant to be used against each other. But, through it all, they came through the fires of Rao, they came together to make the world a better place. And it calms down Osul. And I love what this stands for Superman, right? Like, because he's his own legend, and we saw that in the first Philip Kennedy Johnson issue, the Future State stuff, right? Where that girl travels to, Smallville, almost like at this mecca point for Superman, and he's just constantly bringing that up and knowing that the super family has this bigger place in when everything's said and done. It was just really nice too for Kara also to be that, not quite maternal, but the older person. This is who she was meant to be for Clark, right?
Yeah. So it's like her fulfilling her destiny finally in a weird way.
Yeah. So
yeah, I also like they do some stuff here where Shadow Sister or Sister Shadow,
Sister Shadow.
That was the way around. She's basically showing Othu what are. But basically, like one of the other multiverses, like, hey, you were meant to be this, and we see this vision of grown-up Otho holding a sword, and she's got armor on and the red cape. She looks kind of badass. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And so, no, you're supposed to be a conqueror. Look at all those chains around your wrist that you built up from being a war zone. And this is who you're meant to be. So she's trying to seduce her over into this idea of like, no, you're not meant to be this goody two shoes that's raised by Superman. You're meant to be this warrior who admittedly looks pretty cool, but yeah, like you get that sense that if Ethan's going to try and convince her to switch over. The only sad part of all this is that we only have one issue left. Like we only have the annual left to wrap up this story. So I don't think she's going to be as tempted as maybe we could have had if this was going to go longer. And I don't know if this was something that was planned to be longer or if this was always the planned final destination.
So I'm wondering if Ortho's going to give in to her Warzone tendencies and try to kill Nora for the greater good, right? Because we've seen what Blue Earth is doing across Metropolis and across their world, and this is what they do. They come and they take out the Kryptonians, basically shake people's belief in them, and then get rid of them, and that allows the Shadow Empire to come through, or the Empire of Shadows. And so I'm wondering if Ortho's going to get onto it and be like, well, I am a Warzone. No, he's fighting, and, it's going to be her brother that has to bring her back or whatever, but she is going to, be tempted by it. Because I just feel like when you have the daughter of Superman now and the daughter of Batman and Talia, they're kind of complement of each other's. So I wonder if that's where he's going with this, but I'm curious to see where it goes. Like, I'm excited for action to see what it's going to do with these, rotating cast or creators, right? But I'm really going to miss this type of world building from Philip Kennedy Johnson.
Yeah, I'm not super excited as of right now because I'd rather we just had more Johnson Action Comics run. The book ends with Superman heading, with the help of Bloodwind and Etrigan, heading to Earth Al Ghul to try and have the conclusion. So that's what the angle is going to be. I'm excited to read that and see how it wraps up. I still speculate that they could announce something that kind of does more, more Johnson Superman related stuff or wherever it could be. But I mean, that said, we just got solicits for March and there was still nothing in there. So there'll be a bit of a gap if there is any sort of follow up at least. So that's it. I did not read any backups because backup number one was a continuation of the Dreamer story with Steve Orlando co-writing with Nicole Maines, and I did not like that story in last week's thing, so I had no interest in reading that. And then the other thing with Young Zod, I was fine.
I will go back, so maybe depending on next week, I'll cover that one real quick, like I've done in past, because I am curious about the Zod stuff. I just ran out of time.
Like my motivation to read backups is a struggle at the best of times. On a week with 12 books, even more so.
And especially with Gargoyle of Gotham and City of Madness are both bigger sized on top of it. So, but just if I'm rating action just by itself, right, the main story, I'm giving this a 9.
Yeah, I think I'll probably just an 8 on this one. I liked it a lot. I think that it feels like it maybe is rushing to the conclusion just a touch, and that's maybe no fault of Johnson himself. Maybe he was told to wrap up quicker than he thought he had. But still very good, though. I like those moments. I love seeing grown-up Otho, this sort of vision of what she might be one day. And obviously, like I say, the Kara stuff with Ozo was good. So... yeah, 8 out of 10 for me. Batman and Robin issue 4, legacy number 970. Sorry, not 970, just 70. This is not 970 issues of Batman and Robin. Yeah, legacy number 70.
Might feel like it, though.
Yeah, Joshua Williamson writing with Simone Di Meo and Mikel Janin on the art. So, I mean, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Like, this has sort of stayed in the rotation purely because it's a quick read more than anything, and I like the idea of Damien going to school. The book starts with a flashback to Damien being trained by, this woman, who was training him at the Al Ghul, palace or whatever. And she sort of questioned him and all these like ancient warriors, including Miyamoto Musashi, who I recognize that name, but I don't know if it's based on the same thing or if it's just that the Japanese samurai movies that I've seen with that main character are related to something. But regardless, he kicks the ass of everyone he's training with. He answers all the questions, and Mistress... we got a name for her here? I don't know if we do. But is it Mistress Harsh? I don't know if he's just calling her Harsh or her name is Mistress Harsh. But either way, he's like, what are you talking about? I won. I got all the questions right and I beat everyone. And then she slaps little Damien across the face and says, you're meant to replace Ra's al Ghul and Talia al Ghul. You need to be better than perfect. And then Talia comes in and is like, did you just hit my son? And she gets on her knees and is like, I'm sorry, your son is talented, but he has flaws. He must be trained. He must be better. And Talia's like, Damien, how do you feel? And he's like, I've outgrown this woman. And she's then dragged off, yelling, you little brat. She's dragged off by ninjas into the darkness. And I was like, okay, I don't know why this flashback is here. I'm sure it'll be relevant by the end of the issue, but it was amusing on its own. I'll give it that. But yeah, sure enough, present day, Damien's been held captive by a new super version of Man-Bat, who's working with Shush, the Hush-related villain. Remember when I said there's some villain names that I hate? Shush is one of them. Shush and Scandal Vajic. Scandal.
Oh, jeez.
Scandal Savage, yes.
There you go.
Scandal Vajic, yes. Anyway, looks a stupid name, all right.
Yeah, but you're making it so much worse.
But do you know what it is? It's because all I've done is take the S from the surname and put it at the start of the first name. It makes me want to take the V from the first name and put it at the start of the second name to balance it.
Oh God.
So anyway, Damien's been held captive, and of course Batman comes storming in and he's with White Rabbit, who ends up helping them. There's a big fight sequence, which, the art's pretty solid. It's got a good sense of motion. I'd say the layouts are a little easier to follow than they have been in past issues, so I would say it's an improvement in that sense. But the art quality's always been good. I did have an issue here, though, because remember how the whole thing at the end of issue 1 or whatever it was is that Batman's had bats turned against him, and they're attacking him. Basically, at the end of this fight, when Man-Bat says, I'm going to call in my brothers and sisters to take care of you, Batman, Gotham City's only got room for one bat, and he runs off. Batman's being completely surrounded by bats, and he's basically, you know what, Robin, it's okay. I've spent enough time with bats to show them that I'm the alpha. And he closes his eyes, he's surrounded by bats, and then there's a full page spread almost of him just spreading his wings and saying that he's the boss, and the bats all disperse. And I was like, oh, this is a bit stupid. Like, him just like showing the bats that he's the alpha. But I did appreciate that on the very next page, the scientist explains, oh no, that thing that he gave you was temporary, it'd already worn off. And and White Rabbit's like, hey, Batman, did you know it had already worn off when you did your whole like alpha thing with the bats? And he just kind of grunts at her. So I do love the idea that it's poking fun at Batman, thinking that he was having this big alpha moment, but it was actually just he was already cured. It's fine.
Yeah, let me take a minute to explain the whole alpha dynamic when it came to wolves and stuff like that. That's all a thing that's been completely misunderstood, because they had studied the wolves in captivity. So those are wolves from different packs. And yes, there was a social structure of alpha male, alpha female, whatever. In the wild, wolf packs and other animal groups are actual families, right? The alpha male and alpha female are actually mom and dad most of the time. Same with like guerrilla troops and all this other stuff. Bat colonies operate the same way. So the whole idea of Bruce thinking he's the alpha bat, really not a good look. Because Batman's supposed to be smart. He's supposed to know these type of things.
To be fair, he never uses that word. It's only White Rabbit who calls it an alpha thing. Bruce just says, I'm going to show them who's boss. So he's not necessarily playing into how bats actually operate. He's just being like, I'm going to show them that I'm tough and that they should respect me.
I mean, that is a very Bruce thing, right? Yeah. That's his entire gimmick. So that checks out a little bit more than that. But yeah, bat colonies and all that type of stuff, I don't think really operate off of an alpha queen, that like a bee colony, right? They don't work like that. But I would have thought Batman would have created a sonic device that would disperse the bats, versus anything. So here we go.
The terrible trio are all been held captive now, but it's known that whatever has been given to them, it's making them angrier and angrier. It's like they've got a rage virus on top of having actual animal parts now. So they're worried about what Man-Bat's actually building up to. They say goodbye to White Rabbit, and they're basically questioning, wait, why did you were helping us? Is this out of revenge? Like, what is it? And she sort of cracks some jokes of how they're a dynamic trio now. And Batman's like, hey, you still belong back in Blackgate. You still work with Mad Hatter. And she's like, you'll have to catch me first. And Damien's like, hey, father, bragging rights to whoever catches her first. And they go running after her. We don't actually see if they catch her. We just get this 2-page spread of them like diving after her. As a bit of male, father-son bonding. I don't think they were doing like a flirtatious thing, especially since I don't think she's actually a teenager. But I couldn't help but think that maybe there was a little bit of a chemistry between her and Damien. But I don't know if I'm just imagining that. I don't know what age she's supposed to be. So if she's meant to be like 22, it's actually really weird and creepy if she is flirting with him.
Yeah, because he's 14 at the most.
The thing is, though, is that when she's drawn in her outfit and he's drawn in his outfit, they both seem like they could be a similar age. It's kind of... it's kind of wishy-washy, but I may just be making things up in my head there. I don't know. So next, the end of the book, though, which for me is the best part, because this is the part where Damien's going back to school, and Bruce is like, hey, you have to do things other than Batman and Robin stuff. So Bruce is actually taking him to school. He's got his like jacket and sunglasses on. The kids are teasing him because, oh, your daddy had to make you come to class. And Bruce is like, are those kids bothering you, son? And I'm like, Bruce, are you going to beat up some children? Is that what you're going to do?
Look, I would respect Batman 15% more if you beat up children.
And then his principal shows up and is like, hey, Mr. Wayne, we have to talk. Like, we have to talk about how your lifestyle, you're a famous playboy, how your influence is affecting your son. You may have to seriously consider your life choices. And of course, we all know that he's really Batman and it's all just a facade, but she's really grilling him on it and giving him a hard time. And then Damien's teacher from class shows up and says, "Oh, I'll be excited to teach you today, Damien. Nice to see you back, blah, blah, blah." And she wants to talk to the principal. And this is where Damien lets out the bombshell. "Oh, by the way, Dad, the principal's this woman who used to train me at the Al Ghul place." So that's why we got that flashback at the start, is that she's here.
When you teased that earlier and you're talking about she was grilling Bruce, I was like, oh, she's the principal.
Yeah.
So having not read any of this, it I guess that's good storytelling on Williamson's part.
Yeah, I think it works because Damien, right before this, was saying, "What point do I have being here? I'm already smarter than everyone else." And then this happens and he's like, "Oh, you know what? She's infiltrated this school as the principal for some reason. I guess I do have a reason to be here." So Damien is seeing school as nothing but like a
mission.
He's a secret agent going to investigate why she's here. The school just happens to be the location. But of course, maybe along the way he'll actually have some social interactions with people, and maybe something will happen from it.
This book seems fun. If I can get some time to catch up, I might have to do that.
I like the high school stuff. I like the stuff with Damien and this woman that used to train him. I think for me, it was fine in this issue for the most part, but issues 2 and 3 really get bogged down with the White Rabbit and Terrible Trio plot. It wasn't easy to follow, I didn't think, in those 2 issues.
Gotcha.
But now that we're back out of that and we're back to focusing more on this stuff, I think there's potential. It's an easy enough read that I don't think I don't see me dropping it. But
no, also you not saying shush a lot here helps. This issue.
Shush.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I would go as far as this one was a nice 7 out of 10. I wouldn't rate it super high, but the art's solid enough, even quite good at places, and I like the Damien stuff that's building up to. So hopefully that keeps going well. But that's Batman and Robin issue 4. Green Lantern issue 6, legacy number 542 by my count anyway. Jeremy Adams writing with Xermanico and Scott Godlewski on the art. So last issue ended with Sinestro getting so pissed off that he basically out of nowhere developed Red Lantern powers, like Red Lantern light around him. Much like Hal has the willpower light around him without having a ring. He just has it. So we kick off, and a lot of this issue actually is just what their fight is. It's their fight with Sinestro using this newfound power that he's got, and just the backwards and forwards. And there's a lot of fun stuff here. Like, Hal literally forms a rocket construct around him with straps, so that Sinestro's strapped to a rocket and is flying somewhere. That's good stuff.
I love it is a duel in that whatever Sinestro throws at Hal counters and vice versa. So that's constantly one-upping until we get to the big moment. With the massive construct that Hal uses, but this is just Xermanico cooking.
Oh yeah,
I feel like Adams was like, "Hey, what do you want to draw?" And then Adams is plotting the story to go that way, in terms of the fight scene and whatever.
Yeah, at one point he constructs an alien dinosaur to charge at Hal.
Yep.
And then that smashes Hal's big green wall that he built. And then some jets come in to try and help Hal because Carol's concerned. She's concerned about Hal, so she sends in a couple of fighter planes to try and help him. But of course, Sinestro is quite happy to, basically form
go after
this.
Those.
Sorry.
He goes after the jets too, right?
Yeah, there's a big 2-page spread where he's sending all. It's like giant monsters basically that are coming after him, but the entire page just covered in red and yellow. It's just a very overwhelming thing. And then Hal, to try and save them, becomes the tip of an arrow basically, and even comments that Oliver would approve. And
Ollie would like this.
Yeah. So, and Sinestro eventually just makes a giant kaiju with a laser beam coming out of his head to rip the city in half. So it's all good stuff. And then Hal decides to, okay, fine, if you're going to be a giant monster, I'll be a giant robot, and builds a huge green mech suit to fight him in. So He even drops a Power Rangers reference at one point. Yeah. It's all fun stuff. So this is a full on action issue, and I think it's earned it because there's been a lot of build up to get to this issue. I think it's had some good action sprinkled throughout. Don't get me wrong, but it's taken the time to build up to whatever Sinestro's doing here. So this payoff feels like they've earned having this big issue that is mostly action. But it all comes to a head when, after a big boom, Sinestro just flies off into space as quickly as he can, and Hal, because his powers are tied to Earth and being able to breathe, he just he hits a limit where he can't go any further, otherwise he's going to die. So he just has to turn back. So I actually really like that panel of just the red light blinking in the distance in space.
It feels not hopeless, right? But he's just like out of reach, you know. And Hal feels hopeless because he can't do anything. He can't leave the atmosphere, and he just says gone. And there's this, bottom panel takes about an eighth of the page, and it's got Hal with Earth behind him and just a wide expanse of space, and he feels so small and insignificant.
It does, yeah. It makes him feel helpless. And that's 90% of the issue. Like, it really is 90% of this fight between Hal and Sinestro, and just all the crazy things that Xermanico can draw between the fight. And because red and green contrast so well, it's always a very nice, pleasing image to just watch. You know, you're never... Not that the yellow and green were hard to follow. No. Depending on how you color yellow, it could be close to green. You know, they're quite close in the gradient wheel.
I mean, they're right next to each other.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah. Also, this is an issue that came out in December, so red and green are appropriate.
That's true. It's very Christmassy. I never even thought of that. You're right.
So, but this is the bombshell here. So like the Gundam, Voltron giant robot. That was really cool, inspiring. But these last 2 pages.
There's a twist here. So Hal goes back to his trailer, and Kilowog's waiting with a beer. He's like, what the hell's going on, Jordan? And he's asking questions. And then we hear a voice come out of the, off panel. And is this like one of the Indigo tribe who's not got their lantern ring anymore?
That's what it looks like, right? So
that's what I thought.
When Hal and Sinestro clash, and Hal's like, there's something about the emotional spectrum we need to stop. And Sinestro's like, I'll never stop. And there's a gigantic boom that bathes everything in white light. There is an indigo wave that goes through. Right? So that's what made me, I'm like, is that Phantom Lantern-y stuff? Like, is this, Sinestro? But whatever. So they go. And there's this guy that definitely feels there's a monk kind of aspect to him.
Yeah, and he looks alien.
For sure.
Yeah, he looks like an alien monk. Not super, like, he's very humanoid, don't get me wrong, but he's just got enough like details in his face to look alien.
Yeah.
So, and I know Indigo tribes, they were all like people who were like prisoners who were taken over by the Indigo light to do good. So how that works into this, if that's who he is, I'm not sure. But he basically says, Lantern Jordan, why you're talking to a construct of Kilowog, and then he turns around and the Kilowog like turns green and fades away, and you're like, shit, Kilowog's dead. And Hal's been talking to a fake Kilowog, whether he knew it or not. It was something from his mind. Well, he calls this character Razor. I don't know who this character is.
Yep. So Razor came from I just looked him up, from Young Justice in the Green Lantern cartoon, where he's from Earth 16. He's equal parts Hope and Rage.
Interesting.
So he can wield both the red and the blue, which, as you know, the blue would quell the red, right? It was the one thing that would stop the burning of the red. So, parted ways with Kilowog, sent his regards to Jordan. But yeah, so he's a character that it seems...
Hold on. I'm not saying this makes me right, but if you mix red and blue together...
you get violet, though, not indigo.
It's close to indigo. It's in the ballpark.
You were closer than you were, right? So... But there's definitely something to this, and knowing that Jeremy Adams works in animation, 100% he saw a character from an animated show that he thought he could bring in.
Well, I don't feel bad for not knowing who he is then.
No.
Okay.
No, because I didn't even know who he was until I just Googled him. I said, I looked up, Razor Green Lantern, and he looks just like he does here.
And don't get me wrong, I'm sure that the next issue is going to give us a lot more context for him. Here it's just like he's a character comes in and drops this bombshell of like, why are you talking to a construct? And then that reveals to us that Kilowog is seemingly dead right now. Or at least Hal thinks he's dead. That's possible. But either way, it was a bit of a gut punch at the end and made all these conversations that he's had with Kilowog in this run so far feel kind of bittersweet in hindsight.
So between that and then everything going on with John, I do feel like we're getting a reset of the Green Lantern Corps along the line, because we don't know where the rest of the Lanterns are, right? Kilowog being dead is a huge bomb to drop. And we know from the last time before I picked this up because of Adams, the last thing I remember reading was Kyle and Kilowog and all of those other guys were off spread across the galaxy. And it felt like some United Planets type stuff. So I'm wondering if this is going to play into all of that, or if this is something new that Adams is going to drop on us. But yeah, I was not expecting Kilowog to disappear into a Green Flash.
I mean, I think we generally know what the Green Lanterns are doing, and that they're just not in Sector 2814, but I mean, we don't know specifically where any of the ones we know are.
Right. The Kyles, the Simons, the Jesses, the guys, like, there's something afoot going on with the powers, with the energy spectrum, emotional spectrum. And that's clearly
a story that's been told in this book, because they keep bringing it up. So this is something we're building to in this story for sure. Yeah. I mean, Guy can stay lost, but the rest I'm curious to see where they pop up.
He can stay lost with Kyle's stupid crap mask. Then.
How dare you?
But yeah, no, this was Xermanico again. He was cooking here. All the constructs, the action sequences, that big explosion, and props to the colorist on this too. If I could pull up the name, if I get the credits page.
Yeah,
because
notably,
all the colors.
Godlewski, who also, I think he just did the last 2 pages. If I'm just looking quickly, it seems like that's because the art does change there. I did notice it. It's not a huge deal, but it did stick out a little bit.
Yeah. Because Godlewski is not a completely different style than Xermanico, but it's a lot flatter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the colorist here is Romulo Fajardo Jr., and just everything with the colors, everything's very bright and vibrant. So, and it does add to the overall story in a Green Lantern book. You want those colors to pop, and like you're talking about when Sinestro goes after the Jets, it's just a swirl of yellow and red and orange, and the bad side of the spectrum.
Yeah, but it looks like those claws and mouths coming out of it. Like monster things.
But yeah, props on this book. It's good to be reading a consistent Green Lantern book again. Yeah.
What are you rating Green Lantern? It was a backup, but I didn't read it.
I didn't read it. After the last one, I was kind of nothing against Tomasi. I don't need Dark Super Sons, right now. I have 12 other books to read this week. So,
all right, what are you rating Green Lantern issue 6?
I'm going to give this an 8.5.
Yeah, I'll go straight 8. It was really good. There you go. World Finest Teen Titans issue 6. Mark Waid writing with Emanuela Lupacchino and Mike Norton on the art. So obviously we've been building up to the Titans being more of a team. The last issue, Dick revealed who he was to sort of gain their trust back, and that seems to be what they needed, because right away this issue they are taking orders, they're following his instructions, they trust him again, and they're building up to what their retaliation is going to be. And it's basically all just to lure the terrible Titans, or what are they called?
The Terror Titans.
Terror Titans,
who, despite being called the Terror Titans, Haywire wants them to be heroes. It's very funny. that is a very funny joke.
Well, I mean, villains are, they're usually out of touch, at least a little bit. And sure enough, like, they actually completely kick the ass of the Terror Titans, now that they're on the same page, now that they've formed a bit of a plan, and we get some action sequences of them, taking care of the various characters, which is good fun. And yeah, the funniest part is probably Haywire running away and being really petty about the fact that he's losing and that he wasn't picked for the team. But that's pretty much it. I think a lot of the fun stuff for me is the Coda stuff. The fact that Dick recorded their fight on a drone so they could show some of it off to sort of rebuild their cred. And Dick thinks that this is probably it for him. He's assuming that Batman's going to force him to stop being Robin once he finds out that he revealed his identity, because he has to tell him that he did that. And they're like, "You sure? No, that sucks." Like, no, we're a team. And he says good luck, and it's really somber. I like the art here. It does a good job of making it feel like it's a sad walk away from the team with the shadow and all that. And there's a couple of other things first, but when we come back to Batman and Bruce, or Batman and Dick, Batman's obviously pissed. He's like, okay, a month without the uniform. And he's like, is that it? And I kind of love this. Batman's like, did telling them the truth save lives? And he's like, yes. All right, 1 month will do then. Like, I do love the idea that, yeah, Batman's got his strict rules, but fundamentally he'll do anything to save some lives, you know? It's
yeah. Well, and then the after that, right? So Dick turns to walk away, and he goes, and Dick, is, yes, sir. You led a team. I don't know that I could do that. Nice work. It's just, this is a Batman that is learning his feelings, right? Working with a partner at this point. So, he's showing growth as well. He's learning from Dick, which was kind of the whole point in bringing in Robin, depending on the canon. Kind of humanize him a bit.
I mean, certainly that's why Alfred went along with it. Well, not Bruce planned that from the get-go is another thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he has learned something here from Dick. He's learned that the trust that he's built with them made them a better team. Something, because I guess in this context of the story, does the Justice League exist yet? Are they saying here that the Titans are predating the official Justice League?
No, because I believe that the reason the Titans got together is because they were, told to stay out of trouble while the Justice League responded to something.
But is Batman leading the team then, I guess? Maybe not.
No, yeah, that's the whole thing. There's probably not quite a leader. And especially those early teams, right? You had Green Arrow, Flash, Manhunter. That era, I'm not sure if Batman was that type of dynamic, get out in front like maybe Superman or Wonder Woman were. So
yeah. We also have Donna and Garth break up. It's amicable. He's basically saying, he likes the peace and the quiet and the serene, and he's never really going to change. So they agree to just be friends, as Matt's very loud garbage truck ruins the audio for everyone.
So I tried to mute it before, but it snuck up on me. So yeah.
So they hug. So it's a very amicable but sad moment. But it's basically them realizing that they're not really the right fit for each other. Whereas Mal and Bumblebee are like hitting it off and realizing they're on a second date. And he's adamant he's not a superhero, but he didn't give the Guardian suit back. This all does make me think that there's plans for more, even if it's just a case of the team popping up in the Other World's Finest book at some point. I suspect Mark Waid will probably do something with them. But yeah, so yeah, the book ends with them all being they're having a party to welcome Dick back after his month away. And they're all
which I also love that they're going to Hadleyville. So they're all sitting around, and Dick runs in. He goes, cool, thanks, Jet, Hadleyville, Mr. Twister, Chaos. I think that's the very first Teen Titans story.
Makes
they
sense.
take on Mr. Twister. So I think that was in the first Teen Titans solo story. Yeah, because I know the Titans Hunt book, not Titans Hunt. What was that? That brought back Wally was them also reuniting to take on Mr. Twister.
It's a very Silver Age and Golden Age thing to do for the first story to barely mention how the team came together and just go straight into this is them doing a thing. So Waid setting this before that story's obviously it's an updated version because they've got social media and smartphones, but setting it before that story is a very Mark Waid thing to do. That's very nice. I've enjoyed this story and book a lot. I think it's a lighter read for sure, but I think right from the get-go it was telling this story of basically Dick realizing he has to trust his team to know who he has to be forthcoming with them. He has to go against Batman's wishes a little bit, and that conflict between Dick and Bruce has very much been the backbone of it. But Yeah, it was an enjoyable read. It was them getting over their shit. I know not everyone liked the issue with the three guys staying at the house together, but I loved Speedy getting really butthurt about everything they were saying about him because he was being a little shit.
Yeah, no, for sure, and I feel like that is also Roy, Mark Waid putting out how Roy is different from the rest of them, right?
Yeah.
He is he's got that edginess, and he's not quite, doesn't quite play well with others, and that goes on to his career's arsenal. So it's everything in there. But no, this book was a whole lot of fun, and I do like the Terror Titans. The whole idea of Toy, whatever his name was, Toy Boy, him. Is that what it was?
I don't know. It just sounds like a dirty thing.
Yeah, the fact that during this fight goes, I learned to cast without using my hands. I felt like that was a big moment. So there was growth through those characters as well. And the entire beginning of using a fake out to pull out the Terror Titans, I thought that was a whole lot of fun. So, and Lupacchino, we all know how I feel about Lupacchino art. The only thing missing from this is Lupacchino drawing Starfire, but maybe in a second, Titans book, we'll get there.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. That's the issue. What are you giving it, Matt?
I'm gonna give this a solid 7.5.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. It's really solid. It's just
It's just enough.
Yeah, it's not the best issue of the book though, which I do think I think as a whole the 6-issue miniseries is really good. But it's the highs were maybe elsewhere. So okay, Batman Santa Claus Silent Night issue 2, Jeff Parker writing with Mikel Bandini and Trevor Hairsine on the art. So obviously we only had issue 1 last week, so it's quite fresh in the mind. This is obviously Krampus is running amok and releasing monsters on the world, the Drog specifically, if I'm getting that name right.
Yep,
so
Drog.
This goes a bit into the backstory again. We got how they met before. This issue, after Santa runs off with gooped up Zatanna, he leaves basically a music box that's got a message in it. So Batman and co take it back to the not the cave, but like the sewer system base that they've got in the city, and play this memory, this flashback, and it's basically showing how Krampus was trying to scare the shit out of these kids, but Santa came in and said, "No, look, right, are you going to do the thing again?" And the kid's like, "No, I'm terrified. I'll never do it again." He's like, "That's good enough for me." Krampus put him down, kind of thing. Yep. And he gives go ahead. I was gonna say he gives a toy to one of the good kids, like, "Hey, you did something nice, so here you have a toy," and it's kind of setting up the whole Christmas kind of, I don't know, tradition, I guess.
Yeah, it's the origins of Santa, but Babs also points out there's playing good cop, bad cop, right? Where Santa gets to be the good cop, and you're not going to do it again, are you? And then Krampus doesn't really get to do anything, right? He just has to play the role. Although to be fair, the exact phrasing she uses is "bad cop, worse cop," not "good cop, bad cop." Worse cop. Yeah. And so and from what I know of Krampus mythology, right, is like he's gotta beat the bad kids with birch sticks or drag them off to hell. And the fact that he's not being able to do that, it starts to build, I don't know if it's resentment or his own instincts starting to turn on him.
Maybe a slight emasculation in a way, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. It's an interesting conceit, though, for this, because you've got like the Bat family watching this story play out. So every so often they pop into a panel and give their comment on what's going on. So it's a really fun way to get the exposition across because the characters can all react to it and like give their thoughts. But this kept working, and basically Krampus was never getting to really punish anyone because it was working. The kids were being good because, as Santa says, he knows when you've been naughty or nice, and they're getting, just the carrot. And Krampus like, "No, the stick's good. I love the stick. Stick.
Yeah. God, I did love, because it plays off of the whole dynamic of Batman and Joker too, right? Is that Batman is all about order, and this is what we're gonna do, and the fact that they're having Krampus also laugh as he does the things, I feel like it's also playing off of that. So the whole idea that he's like, the stick, We need that too. Don't forget about that. It's not just the carrot. It was giving me kind of Joker vibes.
Yeah, and then there's a misunderstanding because basically there's some kids that are missing, and Krampus says he ate them, and he's laughing about it. So Santa effectively sends them to the Phantom Zone. I mean, it's not actually the Phantom Zone, but it's like the Phantom Zone. And he then finds out afterwards that the kids were just hiding, and that Krampus was just having a joke. He just enjoyed playing the character.
He's got a dark sense of humor. I mean, he's a goat horn beast with tusks, of course.
So Santa tries to go into the other dimension that he sent him into and pulls him back out, but he can't find him. He's gone. So now Krampus has got a reason to want revenge. He was basically incarcerated for no good reason. I mean, crying,
for making a joke.
Yeah, crying wolf. Don't get me wrong. Can get you into trouble, but and notably, this is in continuity because this follows up Night Terrors. It mentions it here. Babs mentions it, but apparently Night Terrors is kind of what let him maybe get out because it kind of broke down this veil of realities and whatnot.
Well, there's that, and Krampus. It goes that the realm that he's also talking to, those are all Valkyries, right? There's these winged warrior women, right, that are waiting to come out. Now, is that how he sees them, and that's why he's releasing the Draugr? Or the Drog?
Well, that's later on in the issue because he goes to the moors of Scotland, of all places, and finds, like these angel-looking. I kind of felt like this was his next wave of like warriors, because the Drog's not really working. Basically, Miss Martian, Black Canary, and Green Arrow. We get a big sequence in the middle of the book where, because they're all looking at the Santa and Krampus stuff, they've got some other like Justice Leaguers to go and deal with the monsters. So we get this whole thing where Miss Martian's pretending to be one of them and then lures them all in, and because they all work based on sound, Black Canary's able to take them all down with a simple scream. So it's a fun sequence though. So it's fun to see, because we don't see much of Miss Martian these days, so it's just nice to see it. But we get the Batman and Co. fighting some Draug, and then the issue ends with Superman flying in, and he looks very upset that Batman never told him that he knew Santa Claus.
This made me laugh so hard because we always get the fact that Clark is sometimes too naive for his own good, right? So this whole idea that he's an alien from another world, right? He has friends that literally do magic, and yet he's upset that Bruce never told him that he knew the real Santa Claus. And he looks like. The art, props to the artist here, because Clark looks like not on the verge of tears, but like betrayed that he was never told this. And I love it.
Which is funny. That's a funny look to have on his face. The other thing we should probably mention that's kind of a big plot detail is that it looks like Krampus has been manipulated by another force. Like there's someone whispering in his ear, telling him to do all this stuff, and hey, you'll get your carrot. You'll get to run around and cause chaos and scare people.
So when he's talking about bringing out other monsters, right? So Krampus isn't the only Christmas monster. There's a lot of cultures that have Christmas monsters, especially from the Alpine regions where it's really cold during the winter, because people need an extra reminder not to go out in that, or the monsters will get you. So I'm wondering if that's where this is leading, right? Where Krampus at the end of the day works with Saint Nick, works with Santa Claus, serves a purpose, but there are other like out and out, holiday monsters that are worse than Krampus. I wonder if, they're trying to get released from the same spot that Krampus was from. But again, here with the Valkyrie, the whole point of the Valkyrie are they are winged warrior women, but they're meant to ferry the souls to Valhalla, from the battlefield. So this makes me wonder if that's what this is here, if something else is being perverted along the lines. So this is a whole lot of fun. The art by Hairsine, right? So there's two artists here. Hairsine's art is the past story.
Yeah, he's the additional artist. So they split it up. So when they're watching the flashback, I think that's Hairsine doing all that stuff.
And I will say Hairsine's art, it's not bad. It is kind of an acquired taste. The Krampus's face looks like, I don't want to say bad because it's not bad. It's just not what I would think the Krampus face looks like. It doesn't match the Krampus from the other artist's art.
Well,
but
if you're a patron over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, the Screams After Midnight bonus episode that just went up this week is A Christmas Horror Story, which features another version of Krampus, who's a big sort of white goat demon looking thing.
Yeah,
if you're
it's more
interested.
like a Wampa in that one than the traditional all black.
It's not a good movie. I'll also throw that in there. It's pretty rough.
But yeah, so the Krampus looks a little bit different. But here, the art in the old village and like the art has Hairsine's art always has a sketchy, almost creepy quality to it, and it fits that part of the story really well. As you're piecing all this together.
It's a fun way to separate it. I mean, obviously, I would have hoped they just got ahead. They could have one artist do all 4 issues, but if you are going to like put in some extra artists to help the workload on the main artist, then having this flashback be a different art is the way to go, because it's a nice, clear, separate. Rather than just shifting at random pages for no reason. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense. It's just been a fun story so far. The way that they're actually. I think when they announced this, I was expecting kind of a fluffy just story that wasn't in continuity where Santa Claus just showed up and helped Batman. But the way that they're kind of tying it into like and using the mythology and kind of like shaking it up and adapting it so it works into the DC universe has actually been kind of interesting. And Parker, I think, has really fun character dialogue. I enjoyed all the little like comments, and probably obviously the best one being Superman at the end, being like, "You didn't tell me you knew Santa." And being kind of butthurt about it is quite funny. So I also just love as well, because Superman's obviously this wondrous character. In the same way that it's fun when Batman's shown like there's someone tougher, it's fun when Superman's like kind of in awe that something else exists because he's Superman. It's just it's a nice fun bit of storytelling. So what are you rating Silent Night issue 2?
I'm gonna give this I'll go solid 8. I'm really enjoying the Christmas stuff.
Yeah, I think I'll go with 7.5. Just a little bit lower, just because I felt like while I enjoyed the flashback stuff, it did take up like half the issue, so it felt like the momentum wasn't as full steam ahead as it was in issue 1. But minor pacing or structural quibble there. So cool. Next up, Outsiders issue 2, Colin Kelly and Jackson Lanzing writing with Robert Carey on the art. Now, this was one that I left till the last few books thinking, if I have to make a cut, maybe this is the one I do. Because I ended up enjoying issue 1 more than I thought I would. But I kind of thought, maybe that was just like a one lucky issue 1, maybe. And then I read this and went, nah, I kind of really like this book. I'm kind of digging like the weird things that it's doing in the story, because so this is basically, it's not the Bermuda Triangle, it's a different triangle, but it's basically at the turn of the century, meaning 2000, this storm started in the ocean and it's not stopped since. And Kate was actually stationed when she was in the military, in the Navy, on a boat that's witnessed this storm, so she's got a connection to it. So it's her that wants to investigate this. And looks like, well, I mean, I don't see why you want to necessarily, but hey, I brought you on board, I should trust you. So now we also have Drummer being the third member of this team, like seemingly as a regular feature. So we have the trio going to investigate this triangle, and we get glimpses. We get a 2-page spread at the start of the monster, but I'll save talking about the monster till later when it pops up properly. So it's like, okay, they're going to go and investigate this other anomaly. And I'm like, you know what? If this book's going to be like these one-shot stories of Kate, Luke, and Drummer going and finding like monsters and paranormal shit and like Lovecraftian things, I could be totally into that.
Yeah, like, it's kind of like superhero X-Files, right?
Kind of, yeah. And obviously the big thing here is that when they get to this triangle and like they mention how the Atlanteans don't like people traveling here, they run into the challenges of the unknown, who have got this big sea tank, is the best way I can describe it, and they come off as pretty obnoxious, to be honest. Like the way they talk to the outsiders, we get this sort of like POV perspective as they're obviously being introduced to each member of the team and going around the ship, and they're all very kind of cocky and they're like, hey, we've got rights to be here. We have a pass from Atlantis to be here. So you should turn around and go away. and they fly off, and there's a good 3 pages here of all this introduction stuff, and then it's just one panel look saying, yeah, we're not going to do any of that. Like, we're going to go look where we want to. So they go submarine diving into the water, looking for whatever it is, and the Challengers of the Unknown have like these underwater mech suits and basically try and stop them. So that's where a lot of our fun action sequences come from in the middle of this. This is the sort of stuff where it might feel like, depending on whose hands it's in, and especially with like Lanzing and Kelly, I feel like they sometimes can be a bit wordy and like the flow's not quite there. But credit where credit's due here. I thought this flowed really well, so I enjoyed the action sequences. But then it got to the really fun stuff, which is that the graveyard of giant skeletons at the bottom of the ocean, and they're like, shit, what is all this crap? And they're all kind of in shock and awe. Batwoman goes out in like her underwater bat suit that looks made for her to like investigate.
Yep.
Like, it's all very pretty. It's all very kind of that sort of like aquatic horror stuff going for it. And then we get a reveal of what the actual monster is, which is, the best I can describe this is a shark head and then like a really buff human like torso and then crab legs. Is that would you agree with that description?
Yeah, he's like a shark centaur, but the bottom instead of being a horse or as a crab, and then there's like, he's almost like a sharktopus on top too, because there's like a squid tentacle
that's like
going behind him.
Yeah, that's coming out of his back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really wild thing. And then this issue goes in an interesting place where they realize that this thing is probably about as old as this storm, and that this particular monster is actually just a child, but potentially. So Kate, while she's going to go in and try and destroy it, she ends up just kind of saying, no, like, we don't need to do this. Like, you're just a creature. Like, there's no reason to kill you. It's almost a Superman story, actually, in that sense, where this is not about just destroying the monster. There's enough people who hunt monsters. We don't have to have more monster hunters. If it's here and it's not hurting anyone by being here, then, you know, let's not do that.
Yeah, so they say, look at all the the bodies around it, right? And so one of the challengers like, oh, so it's a runt. And one of the other ones like, no, she's saying it's a kid, right? Imagine this boneyard was your home and that these bodies were all the family that you had left. Imagine being that alone. And I was just like, oh, man, look at these two. You're making me feel for a monster, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Drummer says, oh, maybe I do like Kate. This is the first time that she's kind of liked what Kate said. So sure enough, like the issue ends with them leaving the water, and there was a little joke here that I liked though, which is that the challengers tried to wave at them as they're leaving and they're playing. Yeah. And he's like, oh, they didn't wave back. I actually thought that was a little bit funny.
Yeah.
So
did you notice what one of the names of one of the challengers was and what he looked like?
I didn't know. Go on.
So his name was Crunch, and he had red hair, much like the kid from Danger Street who loves grapes. And
I did not notice that. Oh, very good.
Yeah, so and then the fact that it seems like these challengers are built from people across the multiverse, or the dark multiverse, or whatever they said at the beginning. So it makes me wonder if this is an alternate version of Crunch.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
Which I kind of like as well.
Yeah.
So
can I just say my favorite thing about the whole book, though? I love aquatic horror. I love the monster being there. I love the fact that we're treating it as if it's it's a creature, doesn't deserve to be killed just because it exists.
Right.
But my favorite thing is that the last page is a full page spread of the monster, and I swear it's dancing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it looks like he's happy. You know.
He's got his devil horns up, and he's doing a dance. That's the only way I can describe this pose at the end.
Can you still two-step when you have 8 legs? Or is it called 8-stepping at that point?
I mean, with 8, you can have a dance that's a 2-step, a 4-step, a 6-step, an 8-step. You can
do it all.
Yeah, you can do everything.
But if this is what this book's going to be, like you were saying, this is going to be kind of superhero X-Files-y, I'm super here for it, because I like this. Like, we don't get this too much right now because there's a lot of continuity in a lot of the big books. So to tell these little weird stories with characters, on the periphery,
it feels
that's
so.
a book that I always like.
Yeah, it feels so different. Like the first issue was there's this weird ship that's got some weird like anomalies happening. We're going to investigate that. And then this one's a giant sea creature that's here. It just makes me think, well, okay, what could issue 3 be? It could be anything really. I could probably go look at SOLICITS and find out, but I'll be surprised.
Yeah.
I'll let myself discover it next month.
Well, and also knowing that the challenges were created by Jack Kirby and Joe Simon, who also created, Captain America and, just, their concepts, at least Kirby's, lends itself to the weirdness. So,
yeah,
the weirder this book's going to get, I feel the better it's going to end up feeling.
And much like the first issue was playing on the planetary and the authority stuff a little bit, and like fans of those things were noticing stuff that we were never going to. I feel like there's probably stuff in this from Challengers of the Unknown fans or whatever that are going to notice things that we would never notice. But it's fun. The fact that it's working, even if you're not getting those little references, is a good sign.
For sure. Right. When you said Challenger of the Unknown fan, I automatically thought of the meme of there are tens of us.
I mean dozens. I think you're thinking of Arrested Development.
Yes. No, that's what it was.
Yeah, there are dozens of us. Dozens.
So, but yeah, no, this is a lot of fun. And I'm curious to see where it ends up. I also like Luke and Kate, their whole dynamic, right? Where, she ends up wearing the suit that he built specifically for her. And
they've got some bantering as well, or some bickering that's kind of entertaining. Like, she's like, oh, okay, how many times have you went underwater with this thing? And he's like, I just built that feature yesterday. And she's like, we have to talk about your operational parameters here. And he's like, I paid for it. I picked the parameters. So just their bickering seems fun because she's so anti what he is in a lot of ways. And then Drummer's kind of this interesting wild card who just knows a lot about things. So, yeah, I think the art's pretty solid, actually. I think all the monster stuff looked great. Like, all the art's good, but the monster stuff especially
even all
good.
the more 90s stuff, like the big mech, like that tank submarine, right? It's big and blocky, and all the weapons that Crunch has there, when you get to his page, it introduces him, and all the details are there. So, yeah.
Is it spelled the same way? Is it Crunch with a K in the other book?
Yep, Crunch with a K. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, very curious.
And he's topless. He's the topless challenger. He's walking about with his muscles out the whole time.
It's because when all you eat is grapes, you can do that.
All right. What are you giving Outsiders issue 2?
I'm going to do 7.5.
Yeah, I'm tempted to go with the 8, to be honest. I think it's pretty good. So, all right. Speaking of Crunch, though, Danger Street issue 12. I'll do a neater intro with that, with you not saying yeah for the cover version. Danger Street issue 12. Tom King with Jorge Fornés on the art. Final issue. Obviously, we've been building up to this for some time. Very excited to get to it this week. It's the characters have already been resuscitated at the start of the issue. We ended with them doing the spell or whatever you want to call it in Lady Cop's kitchen. We've already had the showdown with Codename Assassin and Manhunter. So this very much is a lot of epilogue stuff by and large, but it starts off with the diamond arm. Well, the sword is now an arm again, which we saw at the end of last issue. And now at the start of this issue, it gets up like Thing from Addams Family and starts running away.
Exactly what I thought.
Yeah, skedaddles out of this plane, which is not flying, it's landed, of course, but eventually it goes back to Metamorpho and reconnects to him. And I don't know if we realized before that Metamorpho traded his arm for the helmet in the first place, but it definitely came together here for me. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This suddenly makes a lot of sense.
If it was said early on, and that's why the green team had the arm but not the helmet anymore.
Yeah. And this spell also undoes whatever happened to the Outsiders. So the girl with the squid arms has actual hands, and she cries of happiness at the result of it.
So here's the thing. So the lizard guy who they were using his hands to hold the Commodore. When he turned back human.
Oh, it was a girl, not a guy. It was a girl.
Was it a girl?
Yeah, the blonde. She had the lizard hands.
Yeah, no. The one guy. So remember, he was arm wrestling, and every time an arm would break, they'd throw it, and so they had tied. Maybe I'm confusing the two.
No, she had him tied up. She had her lizard tentacles around him in the chair. It wasn't so the guy who kept having his arm chopped off. That wasn't the one who holding him down.
That's different then. But I was gonna say, so are there just a bunch of stumpy arms? On that plane now?
I suspect they all disappeared because all their powers reverted to normal. So that's my guess. I just got the visual of a mountain of arms on this private jet, and it's going to make the Commodore look worse. So, you know. Yeah, that's the big thing, is that the other one's like, hey, like, yeah, all this evidence, all your bank accounts have been frozen, the police are coming after you, but you already kicked me out of the team, so I don't care.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, we even see that he's in jail at the end. So, but yeah, a big part of this issue, though, I think the crux of it is that basically, Orion's telling Lady Cop that the kid that has the soul of Atlas in him has a duty now. He has to go and hold up the clouds, right? Or the world's going to end. And she's like, "Come on! Like, he just came back to life, and you want me to tell him to go do this?" And it's like, "Yes, this is important. You don't understand the weight of this." It's like, "Okay, I'm going to have a coffee first." And then Orion gets really pissed that she's having a coffee first, which leads to probably the best line of the whole book, which is, "I'm not a god, I'm not a man, I'm effing Lady Cop." Which is,
and I'm getting a GD cup of coffee before I talk to that kid.
You can say goddamn, Matt, come on.
I know, but I always get in trouble for words that I shouldn't say. Okay. So I'm just playing it safe here, which then freezes Orion in track. So her proclamation of "I'm a lady cop, but I'm getting a cup of coffee" freezes a god in his tracks, which is a very, for someone that always believes Superman's not coming, right? She has found this power through this group, through this adventure, that freezes gods in its tracks, and I just think that's so poetic.
Yeah, and we see the kids are all happy to be together again, and they're joking, and they're talking about if he saw anything in the afterlife or whatever. And then the joke of like, of course I found a grape. It's a kitchen. And he's like, it's not your kitchen. And they all just have a chuckle and a laugh.
I want more of these kids, man. I love the dingbats. King has really hit pay dirt with these guys.
Yeah, and Creeper's feeling down because he's not a superhero. He's just a celebrity. And basically Orion like picks him up and tries to get him to snap out of it. I've witnessed miracles, so screw fate. Like, come on, like the gods are real and they're us, so we should be worthy of our worship. It's like it's talking about self-confidence, self-worth, all that stuff. It's all good stuff. And just seeing like the payoff here, where basically Lady Cop takes the dingbats outside and explains what needs to happen now, that this kid needs to go and fulfill the duties of Atlas, and the dingbats start crying, and it's really sweet because they've spent this whole book trying to bring him back to life, and then Crunch just says, what if we just go with him? What if we just stick together and go and do this? It's like, what are we going to do? Take the PS5 and some comic books and just chill for all of eternity? It's like, well, it's better than Danger Street without the rest of us. So it's kind of this. It's kind of just this sweet story of them wanting to stick together no matter what, even though they're going off to the end of the universe to do this really vague, like thing. Hold up the sky. What does that even mean? I don't know. Like, how do you interpret that?
And I like what Crunch says. He goes, Danger Street's okay, but it's not Danger Street without you guys. It's just a street. It's a street I walk down sometimes when I'm getting some grapes. Which then leads non-fat to be like, oh, what the actual F, So just the fact that they're doing this for their friend, right? And Crunch, who's almost like this kind of empty-headed wise man, right? It's just like, well, why not go with him? Who says we can't? And it's kind of, I feel that that's King looking at the future generation and being like, all they have is potential. They look at things differently, right? Because they're kids, they're young people. They haven't been beaten down yet. All the stuff that they've been through, yet there's still this hopeful optimism to them.
Yeah, and even the outsiders who are like human again, like they leave in a very hopeful place. I mean, if nothing else, this story's about the little people, right? It's about the misfits. It's about the people who aren't supposed to matter that much, but they save the universe, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even the heroes, Warlord and Starman, Metamorpho, who kind of screwed up big time.
Yeah.
They had a hand in helping by the end, putting it all right. Which is why it's really funny after the kids leave to go and hold up the sky, and they're not, and you can see they're taking a bunch of shit with them. They've got bags of shit.
Yeah.
They've got movies and a TV and stuff. Like they're going to go and be who they are. It's really funny that after all that, Lady Cop pulls out her gun and says, "You're all under arrest for, breaking out of jail and for doing various other things and whatnot." And it plays as a really funny beat where she's like, "Well," and it's like two panels that are identical, except the first panel they're all in silhouette, and the second panel they're still in silhouette, but now their hands are all up. It's a really funny comedy beat.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's going to get her way. She's going to do what's right, and it's her job to take them all in. And the helmet of fate is now like it's lost its sheen. It's all kind of like concrete looking now.
Yep.
It's lost its magic. And Lady Cop tries to interrogate it and demand some answers. And this is when a mysterious character shows up and says that he's here on behalf of the Lords of Chaos. And he's like, "No, like you're not going to get any good answers out of this anyway. All it's going to do is tell you a fairy tale. It's going to say once upon a time in a kingdom." So it's almost like it's breaking the fourth wall here as this character saying this. And Lady Cop's just pissed because she wants answers. And the story ends with this sort of cycle of like, things come back round. Now the outsiders are the kids driving the quad, going down the street, and Lady Cop's giving them a ticket because they shouldn't be driving it on the road. And basically when the kids question her, she's like, "Look, here's what I am. I'm just Lady Cop. I'm just the cop who's here to like set things right and maybe inspire the right people." And we get the 9-panel grid, the montage, if you will, of where all the characters are now, of Warlord and Starman, the Commodore's in prison, Jack Ryder seemingly is advancing his career.
He's going to be a real journalist, right? He's not going to be doing the TV news. He's talking with Perry White.
Yeah, it's Perry White.
Daily Planet.
And then you see the kid holding up the sky.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's off panel. You just see some bright light coming down, but the implication is he's standing holding the sky up.
He's doing his duty, and his friends are there, and the other two are sitting. It's Crunch and I forget the other guy with the glasses. They're in a very Kirby-esque place, right?
Yes.
Like the way that's all drawn behind them. And but I just love this, right? Because at the beginning, right, the dingbats called her Lady Cop, and she did this. "Don't call me Lady Cop. I'm officer, whatever." But here, when she defines who she is and what it means for the story and how it goes through everything, it feels like not quite like an epilogue, but it just feels like this, like a new status quo. If I'm using the right term here, right? Like everything has changed. Everything, even though it seems like everything is repeating, the cycle's happening again, right? It's changed for the better. Like it's, there's been incremental change, and sometimes that's enough.
Well, I think it's important that she's kind of accepted that that's who she is, and that, like that's good that she's that. It's important that she's that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of characters by the end of the story have accepted. Are more proud of who they are. The outsiders are proud of being the outsiders. Everyone but the Commodore, obviously. He doesn't like who he is.
Right, well, but he did bad things,
But, Starman and Warlord seem to be more proud of who they are. Jack Ryder's more proud of who he is. It feels like a thing across... Even Codename Assassin and Manhunter, to their dying breath, were kind of like sure of who they were at the end of that fight. That was kind of part of the big point of it. There's one scene here that I will just bring up from the middle that we didn't mention is the Commodore and the other guy, the other kid are like walking down the road, and they're reminiscing, and he's like, "Hey Commodore, do you remember like the guy who had the helmet who gave us the money and the power that day in the playground when he separated between the green team and the outsiders?" do you remember what he told us the reason was for all of it? And he's like, no. And then he smiles and says, yeah, me neither, and gets in the car and leaves him behind. And it kind of just pointed out that, much like we said when we talked about that flashback at the time, there was no reason. Like, the distinction between who was the rich and the poor in this scenario, the green team and the outsiders, was a meaningless children's game for no purpose other than just to create a divide. So the idea of him smiling back fondly and remembering, it's not important why he did it. I don't know. That seemed to click with me. I feel like the actual meaning behind a lot of this, I'd have to read the whole book again and really think about the themes from issue 1 all the way through to the end.
So you have to imagine the guy that comes to collect the helm from Lady Cop, right? He's probably the guy that started it all off, and you find out he's an actual agent of chaos, right? He works for the Lords of Chaos. And so you could read it also as that's just chaos sometimes, right? There is no meaning. Things just happen. And then why? Who knows? You have to determine meaning from what happens, not what was. I mean, that's how I choose to read that, because when she looks at him and he's like, come on, I'm a god. And you get the Kirby crackles and stuff. It makes it seem like, yeah, there's a plan, but what's that saying? You plan, God laughs. It feels along those, along those lines.
That said, though, her response of "wouldn't be my first" is also pretty funny and kind of badass, actually.
Badass, 100%.
Yeah.
King has done this really cool where, like, I said I want more of the Deanbacks. I'd also love more of Lady Cop, right? Like, if they just pop up and these are the things, because over these 12 issues, they've been so well defined as characters, right? We've spent this time with them. We get to know what they stand for, what they're all about.
I mean, to compare it to these other big 12 issue books, I will say the ending of this one didn't hit me with like a punch like some of these other ones that I would say are maybe even better. But I think what this one did do is that it was such a wide cast of characters that I enjoyed reading. Like, for 12 months, I got these characters who I was so invested in, the Dingbats. I was invested in Lady Cop. I was invested in the Manhunter and Codename Assassin stuff. Even the Green Team to an extent. Jack Ryder as well to an extent. But like, to varying degrees, I was so invested in how this was all playing out that this did feel like kind of a quieter epilogue almost of like them accepting who they are and accepting what their destiny and fate is, almost to a point. So I feel like there's probably some more to it that I'm not even picking up yet, because I feel like if I go back and read it from the start with the ending in mind and sort of like pay attention for the details, I think it'll probably be a very rewarding reread. But it was a great time, and I hope Tom King's next 12 issue prestige style book isn't too far behind. Of course he is busier now because he's doing an ongoing with Wonder Woman and Penguin, but we'll see. But
maybe this is what he needed to get his juices flowing, right? So we could get the Penguin that we're enjoying, and Wonder Woman this is very character based, because when someone asks me what Danger Street's about, I kind of got to start describing the characters more than the actual story, because a lot of the story hinges on the choices the characters make. So
yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying Penguin. I'm loving Wonder Woman right now. But I do think it'll be a shame if he doesn't have one 12 issue book at a time coming out. So I hope that they do announce something at some point and give us his next version of that, whatever it may be.
Yeah, something out of continuity that he can just go wild with, like even like Supergirl. That was Supergirl, right? Woman of Tomorrow.
Yes, that was Supergirl. I can confirm.
I was trying to remember the full title. But yeah, something along those lines. So, because the stuff's so good. But yeah, kind of, not that I was disappointed, right, or by anything, but it just, like you said, not even fizzled. It kind of coasts to the ending, as it goes.
Even coast sounds negative. I think that's still too negative. So I would say it's more of a downbeat epilogue issue than it is the big climax took place over issues 10 and 11, and then this was the cleanup. This was the characters and like where they're going, and the final sort of like more like poignant moments, as opposed to the big bombastic stuff that already happened in the last two issues. So the exciting stuff has already happened, but this was a really nice goodbye to these characters for now. So,
Yeah.
all right, what are you giving Danger Street 12?
I'm gonna give this a 9.
Yeah, I think I'll probably go 8.5 on this one. I really liked it a lot. I think it was a great send-off to the characters. But yeah, there was other issues that were a bigger peak, where it was so exciting getting to certain story beats or character moments. But this was a really good conclusion. I'm excited to read it again someday, and hopefully Tom King's get more of these 12-issue books in the tank before too long. So, cool. Batman, Gargoyle of Gotham, issue 2. Rafael Grampá, writing and drawing. This is one of the Black Label books. This is the one where he is investigating a serial killer, but there's also this old-timey character with a tuft of hair who was working in a TNT factory, an illegal TNT factory, might I add. I will say, out of all the books that we've done with Black Label, this is the one that I struggled a little bit to remember the first issue. Although, first things first, actually, I was right. Matt did read this first issue. He messaged me at the weekend, said, by the way, Peter, you were right. I had read this.
So I searched my ComiXology, and the first issue came up and went, oh, I did read it. So talk about struggling to remember. I forgot I completely even read it. And it's not a quality thing. I think it's I just read too many comics. So when there's a big gap, like there was from, when did the last one come out?
It was a few months ago, yeah. It's been a while.
Yes. So when there's a big gap in them, I tend to forget. And then when I started reading this, I started thumbing through that issue. And I was like, oh yeah, it's the old-timey cartoon dude. And there was that awesome sequence in the film room. Where the projector and stuff was, and it started to gear. This one though, I don't think I will forget because it makes some decisions here.
There's some interesting direction. Obviously, we see the killer. I think we see the killer, who's this sort of this cloaked figure with these big spikes coming out of the gloves. They might be a woman. It's hard to tell. But we see the killer, but it continues this thing that the first issue was doing, and this is what came flooding back to me as I was reading this, is that there was a lot of stuff in the first issue about Bruce wanting to let go of Bruce. He wants to just be Batman, and he's ready to give that up, and Alfred's kind of fighting him to say, no, Bruce Wayne's an important part of who you are, and you have to kind of preserve that. And this issue goes further with that. There's like a protest outside of the Wayne building that at one point Bruce, like, someone notices him in the car and they say, hey Bruce, do you want to comment on anything that's going on? And he's like, I will give legitimacy to your stupid story, piss off you peants. And Alfred's like, you just legitimized it. You idiot.
Well, then he tells Alfred to shut up.
He does. He's a whiny little bitch in this book. Yeah,
I don't like Bruce in this one, even more than, we all joke that I'm the anti-Batman guy, but we all know that I secretly love Batman. I don't like this version. This version sucks.
Yeah, he's clearly, obviously that's the arc of the book. He's going to, learn something by the end for sure.
Yeah.
The other, there you go.
I was gonna say he can disrespect that person that's trying to get social change across Gotham from a grassroots effort, but you don't talk to your surrogate dad that's cared for you his whole life and your whole life that way, man.
Yeah,
just leave the butler alone, man.
This is a more edgy Bruce for sure. The other big part of this is that Gordon has information from Batman, and the police don't like that he's got intel from Batman and see it as a problem. We don't work with vigilantes, so it's really doing all that kind of stuff. And Gordon's kind of threatened with his job for doing so.
Yeah.
So that's all going. We do see. Is it the killer or just a woman who's at this church in a red coat and is sort of watching as all these like moths or whatever they are like swarming the place? There's a lot going on, okay? There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. So when we see her, she looks very scary. I don't know if she's going to turn out to be the actual killers. I think there's bigger things going on when we get to the end.
Yeah.
That deal with Bruce and Batman and the identity of Gotham in and of itself.
Yeah.
However, the way that it's paced, where I don't know what's going on, I feel like I'm going through a labyrinth where each turn is something different.
Yeah,
but
the big thing is that Bruce was a patient who was treated by this Dr. Arkham, because that's the big thing. The victims that were in the first issue had all been treated by this Dr. Quentin at Arkham. Before Arkham just became an insane asylum, it had other wards, it had other things going on. And Bruce hears this because Gordon shows up at the Wayne mansion asking Alfred about it. And Bruce is like, what the hell, Alfred? What's he talking about? I don't know anything about this. And Alfred basically explains that after your parents died, later that night, you found a homeless guy you thought was the killer and beat him to a pulp with a metal bar or something.
Yeah, so we beat him with a stick to within an inch of his life, and he's been in a wheelchair ever since.
Yeah, so Bruce is sort of like dealing with that, and he's like, well, if these memories were wiped for me, is it possible that Batman wasn't even my idea, that this doctor put the idea into my head to like try and deal with the anger and the rage that I was feeling? So Bruce actually goes to visit this old man who's in a wheelchair, and the old man admits that he was the killer, actually, because he says all I wanted was the pearl necklace.
He was a junkie. He was looking for a score. Your dad challenged me, kind of puts the blame on them, you know, which gonna upset Bruce on a whole different level, right?
Yeah, obviously this is a very conflicting thing to hear, is that, okay, he'd found the killer all this time ago, but he almost paralyzed him, and now this guy's like, yeah, you scared me so much I didn't even want to confess. So Bruce is in a bit of a pissy mood. This is when the whole thing where he's asked about the protesters in the car because he's driving past. And then he's a bit of a dick to Gordon, and he says, oh, I work alone, I don't need the police's help, and he's really shitty to him. So yeah, like it's really doing this stuff where he's a very unlikable version of Bruce in this. And then the whole idea that maybe on some level, yeah, there's some extra manipulation. Admittedly, if this was in continuity, I would hate all this retconning of like, you know, later that night he did something violent and then he was at a therapist and he doesn't remember any of it. I'm glad this is a continuity story where I can let all that slide. Okay, let's see what your idea is. And there's some gorgeous art here. You know, Batman standing on the top of this like radio tower in the rain. Gorgeous stuff. Rain.
Oh my god, I got to that page, and I was like, oh my god, it's so moody. Like. There's that. Also, that wasn't just a nightstick. That was Gordon's nightstick that he beat the guy with. So. Oh yeah. Okay. It also gets Gordon because, you know, in this version, Gordon was there as a sergeant to comfort Bruce and whatnot. So like the identity or the birth of Batman and all of this stuff is so intrinsically tied to Gordon, to this doctor, to everything else. Yeah.
And then this priest from the church who Gordon goes to see, although he's not expected, so it's actually not one of the patients, right? And he goes to see him and is surprised to find that he's a priest. And then towards the end of the issue, he starts seeing these like black butterflies flying around. And then we go in and the priest seemingly has turned into this half bird man kind of monster.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's definitely insect-like. You know, like that's what all the moths are about.
Yeah, I would have just said that he, like, the first full-page panel you see, or spread you see of him, I would just say it's a guy in a mask and a cloak, but his hands are all, like, bird-like. They're all kind of, you know, thin and whatnot. And, yeah, from here... the old cartoon timey villain, like he causes a ruckus in the police van that he's been transported in, so he's breaking out. And then the girl in the red jacket shows up, who I'm thinking is not the villain. Actually, I think the killer we see at the start is not her. This is definitely someone different. But she jumps in into the fight to fight the Birdman, is what I'm going to call him. And then Gordon has her, you know, point blank with his gun. And is arresting her. And then Batman crashes through the window fighting a villain and lands in the I don't know, the basement of the city with this villain character who's got all these druids with like cult masks on. I have no idea what happened at the end, to be honest.
Yeah, so like it gets super weird, and for me, like the best way, right? So there's something going on here in Gotham that has created people, I guess, like Batman, right? Because you could argue this version of Batman is exceptionally violent as well, and Gordon finds that like cross thing in the wood. And that's what the symbol is that that all of these people have, right? It's not quite a cross, but it's like three stakes, one cross over another with one in the middle, that the priest seemingly dropped, right? Is that what led him there? I remember this one was a lot.
Yeah, well, there was I had to go back and find it because the villain at the end, when he's monologuing, he's talking about a cup falling and stuff. And earlier on, there was a panel of someone holding like a red demon child.
Yeah.
I want to go back and get the context for that to see how it links up with the ending. Because here we go. Right. So yeah, it was when Alfred was telling Bruce about what happened, going to see the doctor. Yeah, and he was having strange visions. A demon cub with a broken wing, and we see this little red sort of like bat demon thing in someone's hand, and apparently that was like his nightmare. And then the fact that the next panel has a black and white panel of like young Bruce with next to his dead parents, and the only thing that's in color is the red blood, it made me think that it was like, oh, the blood of his parents formed this in his hand. But I don't know if that's just because I'm connecting those two pages together a little bit. But
oh, there it is.
Yeah,
Alan, it's the scene where Batman's getting on Gordon and that he doesn't need help and stuff. He finds this symbol, this the cross stakes thing, the cross stakes cross, and he's the one that gives it to Gordon, and that's where Gordon goes to start talking to the priest, and he has it on a book behind all his, what look like larvae, and then that what ends up being on the guy at the end. So there's some order that is pulling strings over Gotham, and like they call Bruce, child, because he says a demon cub falls over and breaks its wings, and it becomes the devil and kills the man. Welcome home, child.
Actually, I want to recant something I said. The girl in the red jacket who shows up to fight the priest when it's attacking Gordon, that is the villain at the start, because she has the same spikes coming out of her gloves as her. So
I don't think necessarily she's a killer, like the villain.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think at the start it felt like she was being presented that way, but clearly she was keeping an eye on this priest because of what he was. He's clearly a part of.
She goes into the church. As I was just thumbing back through, she goes to the church and he notices that she's there.
Yeah, I will
puts
say
him on edge.
That's so many like different moving parts that. This was the casualty of reading 12 books this week, is I read this quite early on and I was really struggling to remember how it all came together and where it went. And even now I'm looking at it again, I'm still not entirely sure what the ending means. But
well, it's seeming to me that there's a process in Gotham, right, where these people that have experienced trauma, right, are ending up doing things, and Bruce is one of those people. So now is he going to be in her sights, right? Because they welcome Batman as if he's their creation. Well, are they just taking credit for that? They don't know he's Bruce.
Well, it made me think the cult leader is the doctor from Arkham, and it's all of his patients that are all becoming. And this girl with the spikes is the killer, but she's killing them because they're all turning into like evil monsters or something.
Right.
So,
and what does that have to do with the cartoony guy? That's the other thing too. That's the seemingly independent that I'm sure we'll pull together.
Yeah, I think that was my thing reading this, is that it felt like it was moving far away from what the plot was in the first issue. I'm still curious, but it definitely feels a lot messier to me right now. But I don't know how much of that is just because I was barely remembering the first issue and it was coming back to me as I was reading this. So this might be the sort of thing where this might read much better when you can read all 3 or 4 issues, however many it is, in one chunk, because this was a lot to try and take in and also remember how it connects to the first issue. But there's definitely some interesting craft here. I think the layouts are good. I think the art, Batman's cowl aside, I think the art is good.
Yeah, but it's consistent, so I feel like that's just Grandpa's style. Also his name, I can't... I feel like I'm talking about my grandfather. That's just Grandpa's style. But yeah, for doing it all their own, it's a pretty strong effort across the board.
For sure. I'm definitely interested. I hope next time it's not out in a week where there's 11 other books. I hope I get to like digest it a bit better. But
yeah, I'm checking. It doesn't seem like I don't know if this is 3 or 4, but usually like Comic Geeks, you can scroll down and they'll have, it
may not even be solicited yet. It might be.
It's not yet. So,
yeah.
But yeah, definitely curious. We get to that cult at the end, and I'm always down for evil culty stuff, especially versus Batman. So
yeah. All right, what are you giving Gargoyle of Gotham issue 2?
Because of the amount of moving parts, I'm gonna give it 7.5. Because there's just a lot going on. It's kind of a victim of this many books. But the art is really carrying it. So
yeah, I'll probably say it's just a straight 7, and I really kind of respect it. I enjoyed the act of reading it, but I definitely felt like it was going places at the end, and I wasn't taking it in as well as I could. So it's the sort of thing that a reread of the whole thing might improve everything for me. But I'll say 7 because I do think there's good art. I think there's good layouts. I think some of the themes it's playing with like Bruce wanting to give up Bruce, and we've seen this done before, but it feels really aggressive in this case. Bruce really feels like a dick in this one. I'm curious to see where it goes and see if I enjoy the ending. But that's Gargoyle of Gotham issue 2. So finally, Batman City of Madness issue 2, Christian Ward writing and drawing in this one as well. This is a Black Label book. This had a solid first issue where you had this other Batman looking for a Robin. You had Two-Face hearing a third voice in his head. These were all interesting ideas. And then it got amazing at the end with the reveal that the second Batman was Bat Cthulhu of some kind. Also,
Batman Below.
Also, the mythology that was built up, that there was like a subsection of the Court of Owls who were revolting within the Court of Owls because they wanted to unleash whatever this thing was from the door.
Yep.
So it all felt very Lovecraftian, and in this issue, I think kept up the quality, kept these ideas rolling. Not only is Two-Face hearing another voice, also the ventriloquist is like, starting to act out differently. There's more going on there where he's rebelling against Scarface, and we get this interesting kind of bit of backstory where, as a young kid or whatever, he was talking to a teddy bear, and his sister didn't like this and was trying to get a therapist to sort of get rid of it and like get it out of him. But then when the therapist explained that he was putting all of his anger and rage that he couldn't deal with into the teddy bear through this persona, she threw away the teddy bear and gave him Scarface and said, hey, she basically encouraged the persona of Scarface.
This is more appropriate, right? Because the family, it seems like they were mob, right?
Yeah.
And so she gives them Scarface because that's more, that's going to be a better version to funnel through. And even there, we'll get to at the end where he goes, I didn't want Scarface, I wanted the bear. So this whole lack of agency.
Yeah, this 2-page layout, to me, what was funny is that I misread it first because it said Mr. It says Miss, whatever the last name is. Wesker, yeah. And then I misread it, there was Mr., and I thought it was a guy for a few panels, and I thought, man, this is some really like Van Halen haircut on this dude. And then I was like, oh no, I went back as, oh no, it's a miss. Okay, fair enough. But I was getting like metal rocker from the 80s or 70s with the haircut, but it's just a woman.
And I'm not that familiar. I know Wesker came up through the animated series, so I don't know how much of the origin is, but this was a new take. I had never heard that before, that he was kind of just this meek kid that was working through the anger and whatnot. So I thought that was a nice, and it also goes in with, all the Lovecraftiness of the madness that lies within.
Yeah.
And the old gods unlocking something that's already been there. And
the art here, of course, is fantastic. The color palette of the reds and the blues and the purples. But a Talon shows up to get Batman to come on board. So that's part of this issue, is a Talon taking Batman down to the Court of Owls and then making their kind of explaining a lot of what's going on, but making like a bid for Batman to try and save the day. And we see Two-Face again, and this idea that there's this alternate Two-Face that's inside him, where he's split horizontally across the face as opposed to down the middle. And it's like, okay, this is interesting. and there's some gorgeous art here as we get the explanation. So we get it in two halves, funnily enough. We get half of it from this alternate Two-Face explaining it to Two-Face, and we get the other half from the Court of Owls explaining it to Batman. But we basically get the Upside Down. Gotham has an Upside Down where there's an alternate Batman who is this Cthulhu Batman, there's alternate Two-Face who's this horizontal Two-Face, and some of the other villains are getting their alternate versions bleeding into them. And this all happened because the door was opened, seemingly, in the Court of Owls, layer.
That rogue court. Yeah. The rogue portion of the Court of Owls. This
unleashed this all into the world, and the longer this Batman, this evil Cthulhu Batman, is in the world, the more the Gotham is going to corrupt, and the other versions are going to bleed into the real versions. And then on top of all that, of course, he kidnapped this kid. He saved this kid and wants to make this kid his Robin. That was, what happened at the end of the first issue. So he's actually taken this kid back to the Upside Down Gotham, and is trying to get him to kill, with him. Hey, these people deserve it. There's some gorgeous art here, though. See when Batman's first been taken down at the Court of Owls? There's a panel of two of the Court of Owls with their masks on, but it's a reflection of the glass as they're looking out at Gotham. So you don't see them sort of head on. You see their reflection in the window as they're looking out at the city. That is gorgeous. It is a gorgeous effect that Ward's captured there.
Yeah. Well, and the way that he's playing with the colors here too, with the way it reflects off of stuff, where the Gotham below looks so distinct from Gotham, but also familiar. It's really, really he's working hard at making this look good.
And the other thing we hear is that Clayface has been affected. Clayface, Nightwing shows up and collapses in front of Alfred. And when he wakes up, we find out that he was fighting Clayface, who had become deformed, and we get this full-page spread of Clayface, almost like The Thing from John Carpenter's The Thing, with all these different faces and eyeballs and stuff everywhere. It's like he can't decide what to be, so he's just all over the place.
He's all in between constantly, and Nightwing's and Basil was screaming, and there's that page of the clay creature. There's mouths within mouths. Ugh, it was creepy.
Yeah, it sounds like he's in pain, and this is not pleasant for Clayface. This is horrible, whatever's happening to him. So it's all very good. So Nightwing's involved now, and he's working with Alfred, and eventually Bruce does contact them, and makes it clear that he's he's underground. He's going to try and solve this. And he's off to do this, and you see this giant statue of an owl in the underground as he's been taken down. But yeah, gorgeous 2-page spread where he's introduced to the owls, and the main ones greeting him, and there's just this crowd of Court of Owls in the background. Just gorgeous stuff.
They're so creepy, and it makes me I want to see a live action version of the Court of Owls, but I want them to be creepy like this. I just don't want them to be rich people wearing masks. I want them to have this culty vibe to it,
Yeah, because they're just these white masks with black outfits. They're just kind of floating heads in the background. It's really good stuff. And they literally show Batman what this alternate version of Gotham is by flipping this city on the table, which is what made me think, oh, you're doing Stranger Things. You're doing the Upside Down. Literally doing the Upside Down. It's good stuff. It's
well, and the idea that they're bleeding over because the Batman below has come to Gotham to find a Robin. It was reminding me of Jordan Peele's Us.
Oh yeah, okay, I can see that.
But the rules here make sense to me because I constantly am fighting with friends over Us not making any sense and not following rules and just kind of doing this. Well, what do you think it is? And I'm like, well, no, just tell me what it is. You're the storyteller. And so at least Ward here is, explaining that because the Batman below has come to Gotham, it's bleeding all to all the rogues, especially the ones that have identity issues as it is, right?
Yeah.
Two-Face, Clayface, those are the two. Ventriloquist.
Yeah.
So it's that madness, that Lovecraftian,
it's just
hallmark.
It's just after that page as well. It's a great little touch in the art here where Batman's looking at a drawing of the Batman below. That's what we're calling Cthulhu Batman. We're calling him the Batman below. And the Court of Owls are explaining, everyone here has a copy there, he's yours. The panel at the bottom of that page where Batman's standing right in front of this drawing, it's the back of Batman's silhouette, but you see the tentacles of the drawing coming out from the sides. It's a really, really cool little touch in the art to have him stand there. So it's like you're seeing the tentacles added to his figure. It's just a good little touch. But yeah, Batman, of course, ultimately is like, yeah, take me to the door. I'm going to go and stop him. Like, I have to stop this. And this is also where we see Two-Face like flying through the Upside Down with the other Two-Face in his head. Yeah.
Two-Face and Half-Face.
Yeah.
That's how I'm differentiating. I also love the way that Ward, because I wasn't here for the first issue, right? And there's that one's pretty Two-Face. Not heavy, but there's a lot of Two-Face in that first issue. The way that he draws Two-Face, right, where, we have the traditional down the middle, the purple side, but almost like the doodles of they're almost like kid doodles on top of him. When it's that version talking, it just adds this different layer to Two-Face that I haven't seen before. And I love it. And it's all over here with this, the talk with Nightwing here.
Yeah. And the Half-Face character, he describes the city, the Gotham below, as craving the trauma of the real Gotham.
Yeah.
And that's why it's latching on to all these particular characters first. It's really good stuff. So Nightwing goes to Two-Face and wants to talk to him about what he talked to Batman and all that stuff. He's like, I want to talk to Harvey, the good one. And he's like, yeah, I'm here. He's like, okay, I need to know what you and Batman talked about. I need to figure out what's going on. And he's like, you must find him because, there's another Batman here and he's going to do all sorts of bad things. And then in the background, you don't even really notice it at first, but Ventriloquist is in the other cell, right? He's behind the glass. And Ventriloquist knocks on the window and says, who needs Mr. Scarface now? And he's basically cut into his hand and made a face. The idea being that he needs to have a personality on his hand at all times. So he's actually just cut 2 eye holes and a mouth into his hand and is doing a voice. And it's so dark and it's very violent and visceral and creepy. It's so good. Especially since they do the thing here where they've just whited out the glasses. So you don't see his eyes. You just see these white lenses as he's talking a voice from his bloody hand. Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
And the way that Ward's drawn the blood dripping too, it's so ghastly.
The red really pops because he keeps drawing this bright red on these more muted cold colors behind it. Yeah. Even the door to the underworld that Batman's about to go into is all red, but inside the door, but the outside is all cold and blue and green.
Right.
So Batman calls Dick and is like, hey, I'm getting into this Upside Down. I doubt there's going to be much of a signal in there. So he's like, yeah. He also tells Dick to stand down. You almost died tonight. I'll take care of this. And I actually love this page. Is that basically Batman in his head compares Scarface's, or I should say Wesker's sister, giving Scarface to young kid Wesker, to him giving young Dick Grayson his Robin outfit, and he's worried that he's basically condemned Dick to this life the way that Scarface's sister condemned him to it. I thought, damn, that's a pull. He's like, this idea that he's feeling this guilt that he did that to Dick. And, it's not the same thing, of course, but you can see why Batman would worry that it is the same thing.
But he's feeling that guilt, right? Because this is a life that he put Dick on. Dick didn't put himself on it. Same with Wesker, right? That's a life that his sister put him on. Yeah. So it's about agency here, and Batman choosing to go down here. The whole idea of being that upside down, where it's bleeding into our world or vice versa, and the lack of agency that causes, right? Is that the root of the madness, right? Is that what is causing these people, that they feel like they don't have the control?
Yeah, but it's also the idea that he's trying to save this other kid from being forced to become this evil version of Robin. Right. It's something Batman has to stop. And of course, as he's jumping into this Upside Down with this Talon to go and stop this evil Batman, the Batman below, the Court of Owls are like, hey, there's a good chance that he won't come back, and he's like, yeah, we have to risk the Batman to stop this. Like, this is this is a chance we have to take. And the final page is the big owl statue that we saw earlier in the Court of Owls lair. There's one in the Upside Down as well, and we see that this is where the cult worshippers of the owls, the Court of Owls, who worship this Lovecraftian style thing, are like all on their knees bowing to it. So it's like, oh shit, because they didn't really bring up that side of the Court of Owls in this issue that much. No. So I love this final page just to remind you, oh no, they're worshipping this. They have like worshipped this idea of the evil owl god or whatever it is they think is here.
So like, if this is the Upside Down, where and not everything is opposite, right? So did the Court of Owls on the other side want to get through, and there was a rogue group that didn't want to go through?
Oh, I don't know.
Right, and that's what led to the Batman. Like, is Batman working with their Court of Owls in the Gotham below?
Oh, I don't know. It's good.
Like,
that's a good question. I mean,
like, there's so much duality at play here.
Yeah, but if the Court of Owls have always like served Gotham and control and worship Gotham, the idea that this Upside Down side are worshipping this Gotham that wants to feed on the other Gotham, it makes sense that they are this corrupt version of the court, and that the regular court wouldn't like them. So the idea that part of the court started to side and like felt the influence coming through the door feels very Lovecraftian to me. I kind of like that. It's really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, this led me on a deep dive to find out what Lovecraftian actually means, because that's something that we kind of throw around now, and it was starting to lose its meaning to me, and I was like, well, no, this is Lovecraftian without being overtly Lovecraftian, right? There are hints of it, just like John Carpenter's The Thing is. It's not
taking like actual Lovecraftian stories here, but the raw idea that I think of as Lovecraftian is the idea of something that we can't comprehend, this force that sort of influences us. Usually you think of it as like a giant monster that's coming from another dimension or space, but its influence is like causing people to do things on its behalf, sort of on Earth, because they're starting to be corrupted by it. That's kind of how I think of Lovecraftian. Well, that's the book accurate definition, I don't know, but...
Right, but this does have a lot of those hallmarks there that make it Lovecraftian. But again, like John Carpenter's The Thing is very Lovecraftian, because there's a sense of a lack of trust in what are the motivations here and all that type of stuff, to where that it calls on Lovecraft while not completely being it. And I think that's smart, right? Because you don't want to have just a checklist. If you're Christian Ward, you don't want to have a Lovecraft checklist. Oh, it needs to be an epistolary, and we need to, this is how it has to be. I think that's refreshing.
Batman does have a tie to Lovecraft in general, actually, and it's a small one, but I believe Arkham Asylum, the name, comes from Lovecraft. Yeah. I think it comes from that.
Yeah, because he used a lot of places around New England, and Arkham, I think, is in Massachusetts. So that goes to there. Plus, Arkham sounds like this old Gothic, name, and stuff as well.
And I pointed out pages as we were going through it there, but the art really is like there's so many full page or 2-page spreads that are just these big splashes that are just explosions of color, and the red always pops against the cold colors that's used in the rest of the pages. It's really good stuff. Very ethereal at places, which is perfect for something that is Lovecraftian feeling. So because it feels because ethereal and Lovecraftian, the idea is to me is that it feels like we're dealing with things that are so big that we can't really understand or comprehend them in totality. And if it gets that feeling to me, then I really kind of appreciate it. So
almost a sense that the universe is so big and we're so small. What's the point of doing anything?
Yeah.
And that is another hallmark
and then,
in there.
Yeah, and the uplifting part in a story like this potentially is when someone like Batman can do something that feels like it's accomplished something. It makes you feel, no, we can be big enough to matter, even in the vast cosmos of reality.
Of everything.
It still matters, so...
But yeah, it is very, like, I'm looking at Christian Ward here going like, well, between this and Ram V with the Aquaman book in here, this is a name that I will instantly check out no matter what.
Oh yeah, the art is so good.
And now I want to go back and check out his vampire book, Bloodstained Teeth. So that might be, once things calm down and DC stops dropping 12 books a week that we're interested in. I might go and do that, because if it's half as good as this, I think it would still going to be a fun read.
Sure. All right. What are you giving Batman City of Madness issue 2?
This is a 9.5.
Whoa! I'll just go straight 9, but it's very good. I love the ideas it's playing with. The art's gorgeous. Yeah. So excellent stuff. So, all right. Let's take out the final part of the show where we pick our favorite stuff of the week, favorite panel/moment, favorite cover, favorite art, and of course top 5 books. And then I can finally, goddamn eat. The stomach's
Yeah,
feeling
I
empty.
noticed you were having some like changes of pace that we would go, and then we would hit on something you really want to talk about, and then the pace would slow down.
Yeah.
But then we'd jam through other things. It was very funny to me.
I'll just say, not for a lot of the episode, but the last 2 or 3 books, I started to feel the hunger coming in. I'm like, oh god, like the finish line's in sight. I need to eat. All right. So panel/moment, Matt, what you got?
All right, so there's a bunch that I could pull from. I mean, there's the Gundam suit in Green Lantern. That's super, super cool. In Danger Street, Lady Cop saying that, she is a lady cop. In Detective, a lot of the, Catwoman, a lot of her dialogue would set it up. But for the sake of levity, I'm going to pull from Silent Night, and it's the last page with Superman.
Okay,
and going,
fair enough.
You never told me you knew Santa. That really put a big smile on my face.
Yeah, there's stuff from Danger Street I could pick. There's stuff from City of Madness I could absolutely pick. There's also that great On a Scale from 1 to Bane, How Broken Are You from Beast World, which I think is really funny. But that all said, I think I have to go with, Why Do You Keep Calling Me Selena Kyle? I think that the needle drop, if you will, of that moment, I think is so good. So I'm going to go with that. But honestly, there's so many books this week, it's really hard to pick a specific moment. So that's that. Cover of the week. Usually I'll look through the covers when you're talking about a book that I didn't read.
You were talking. So if you want to look, I can vamp here, because there's a bunch I can talk about.
What are you picking?
So I like the regular Outsiders cover, where it says what lies below. It's got the ship in blue at the top, and then there's pink down towards the bottom. That looks really cool. The regular Danger Street cover that has like all the people, almost looks like the Sgt. Pepper's album. I think that's pretty good for a last issue. And then the Batman City of Madness covers are so good. But mine's gonna be from Action Comics, and it's the Daniel Sampier 1 in 25 cover.
Oh yeah, that's pretty.
It's got Superman going up and away, up into the clouds, and he's got like this jet wash on him, and his color pops against the blue clouds. That's phone cover, phone lock screen.
Yeah, I'm not
worthy.
picking it, but there's a Green Lantern variant which is Santa doing the Larfreeze, or not the Larfreeze, the thing where Hal's got all the rings on.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's all like baubles and candy canes. That's pretty funny. I do have to appreciate that at the very least. Oh man, I mean, I think City of Madness is obviously up there for me. Danger Street with like every character on it is a fun cover. Yeah, good looking stuff. I'm tempted to say that the Jason Son Alexander cover of Detective. It's a little Kelly Jones actually, but it kind of works in the context of like the tone and the mood that's been going for.
I like the curl on the cape, on his shoulders. There's just something about that makes it feel gothic and creepy, and it fits the tone of what the story's been.
Yeah, and I'll go with that from Detective. I think that's what my pick will be. So, very good. Lots of covers though, lots of variants to check out this week. Spoiled for choice. So, best art of the week.
This is the tough one, right? Because you got Xermanico, and the only detraction of that is the last couple pages are by Godlewski, right? And it's still good, but it's not the same. Lupacchino for World's Finest, always a really good effort.
Come on now. It's Fornés for Danger Street, or it's Christian Ward, and it's one of those two.
Yeah, that's what I was building to. So it's gonna be weird because Danger Street, Fornés has been my ride or die, but the way that Ward draws Two-Face and the way that, the Wesker stuff, the colors, just everything at play here, I have to give it the City of Madness.
Yeah. I'm going Christian Ward for City of Madness as well. Fornés was great on Danger Street all throughout. Again, this issue was fantastic. But like we said, it wasn't a standout issue. And, I'm pretty sure Fornés probably got it like somewhere between 8 and 10 times because of Danger Street over those 12 issues. Yeah. So I don't feel bad giving it to Christian Ward for this one. I think this is perfectly acceptable. So, very good. Although, shout out to the art on Detective. I thought that was really good. Yeah, lots of good art this week. So, top 5 books, Matt. On you go.
All right. So 1 is going to be City Madness. 2 is going to be Danger Street. Then Action. 4 is going to be Tech, and 5 is going to be Silent Night.
Okay, this is tough. 1 for me will be Detective. 2 will be City of Madness. 3 will be Danger Street. 4 will be Green Lantern. 5 will be Outsiders. Yeah. Beast World, maybe. Nah. Yeah, Beast World. I'll put Beast World at number 5. It's a tough week. There's a lot of good books. There's 12 books.
Yep.
And I really like most of them, so that was a tough one, but yeah. Okay, there we go. Alright, to finish off, I'll tell you what's coming next week from DC Comics, and it's almost as much as this week, so brace yourself, guys. We have Nightwing 109, Batman Superman World's Finest 22, Superman 9, Wonder Woman 4, Catwoman 60, Justice League vs. Godzilla vs. Kong issue 3, Green Lantern War Journal issue 4, Jay Garrick The Flash issue 3, Hot Girl 6, Batman Santa Claus Silent Night 3, Batman Off-World issue 2, Harley Quinn Black plus White plus Red 6, Titans Beast World Tour Central City issue 1, and the Joker Harley Quinn Uncovered issue 1. So I've still got like 10 or 11 books next week, so that's all fun. And I really want to read all of them. The only one that I don't really want to read that much is the Beast World tie-in, but we'll see.
Yeah, so I'm looking the Beast World tie-in for Central City. It's got a Cy Spurrier joined by Speed First writer Jarrett Williams story, Circuit Breaker, A.L. Kaplan, and Night Terror's Flash writer Alex Paknadel. So I don't know, maybe it doesn't have to work hard to be better than some of them, but I'm not looking forward to it.
It's at the bottom of the priority list for sure, but there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, Nightwing, Wonder Woman, and War Journal are heavy hitters, and
Off-World. I'm curious to see where that goes.
So we'll see how that is next week. Hopefully Connor can sneak on. I know for a fact that he's got at least one weekend free coming up, and I thought it was last week, but it obviously wasn't. But we'll hopefully see him next week. But that is the show, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. We always appreciate it. Support everything over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. Get a little bit early access. Like, subscribe, share the podcast with friends, rate the podcast on iTunes 5 stars or wherever you get your podcast from. But that is us, so thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep reading DC Comics, and remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.